Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and genders of all ages.
That's right.
Episode 7, 8,
8, 9, 10. I don't know.
You're here. Listen, folks, we're sorry about the delay. It was my fault. We actually, today, we did not have a skit. That was my bad because I was supposed to send the skit to Tyler, but it was too long and it didn't send, and I didn't realize it. Then at the last second, and I literally mean today, took the skit, split it in half using really cheap editing software, and we
done
get it out
messed
to you in
up,
time.
Jack.
Yeah,
You
well,
done messed up.
Well, I brought a pair of scissors. They're like, cut it down, and I brought the pair of scissors, and I'm like, how do I cut the freaking thing? But anyway, we do have a lot to talk
age,
about,
ladies and gentlemen. He's showing his age.
I'm showing my age. Listen. We have a lot to talk to you about. We're going to do a deep dive into Loki.
Oh.
Episode 2.
Oh.
And we have the trial of Amber Heard in a segment we call Jivin, Judge, Jack. And it will be a different person. It won't be me. Jivin, Judge, Jack is not Jack from Jivin with Jack. So it will be a different person. And Austin will be the prosecutor. And we are going to get into it. Does she deserve to be canceled? Because, you know, it was trending again once the title of AquaMan 2 came out that she should be removed. And we're going to get into it. We're going to have a prosecutor and we're going to have a defense. And we're going to have Jivin, Judge, Jack, who is very fair and honorable. But we'll have fun, and it'll be fun. It'll be entertaining. And it'll be the first of many court cases we're going to have. Judging celebrities. Tyler has suggested we might do the trial of Gina Carano at some point. But today,
there you go.
We will be doing Amber Heard. So how have you been, by the way?
I've been good, man. Had a little bit of a late night. Couldn't really sleep, and then had the internet go out, so I couldn't game either.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, man, what do I do? And so I popped out some movies. I ended up watching Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
Okay.
Rewatching that for the first time in years. I don't know how anybody can dislike that movie. Like, sure,
believe it or not, I've never seen any of them.
It has cheesy moments and like corny, parts and stuff. And sure, yeah, you can get into the plot holes and blah blah blah. But it is just so freaking cool and so fun, man. Like, I'm not kidding you when literally the last like hour of the movie is straight up Transformer action.
Okay.
All across Chicago. It's so epic. Oh my God. And then I put in another one of my favorites that's not popular amongst the fandom, The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, really?
I decided to watch that again. And again, I was like, I don't understand why people were so hateful. In fact, I think the Amazing Spider-Man movies are the most comic book accurate.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you there.
Spider-Man movies. Besides, you do have to get over the fact that Andrew Garfield looks like a Calvin Klein model, and
he's like my age.
But yeah, I don't care about that. He's just far too gorgeous to be Peter Parker. That man he's a model, especially back then when he was younger. So it was like, but he's got the personality, so it's kind of like it plays well because he does have that personality, and then when he's in the suit, hey Ryan, what's up, man?
What's up?
Ryan Geek, good to see you guys here. When
Jack's here too. Everyone say hi to Jack.
But no, when he's in the suit, all the lines that he says and how he acts in the suit, I think is also probably the most spot on Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's really he was really good. I liked the first one, The Amazing Spider-Man. I haven't seen the second one in a while. I didn't hate it, but I remember thinking okay, whatever. But it was okay. Yeah, I didn't get much sleep either last night. I don't know why. I was wired. I didn't fall asleep till like 6 a.m. and then I woke up at 9.
Oh, nice. It's always fun.
So anyway, we're gonna talk about what's it called? We're gonna talk about Loki. We're gonna get into Loki, and then a little bit later, we're gonna do the trial of Amber Heard, and that should be fun. So let's get into it, and make sure, folks, if you're new, to like, share, and subscribe. And if you are interested in supporting our work, and we're here all the time, you can become a member. We have a 3-tier system.
That's right.
We have the baseline, which is the drip for now. We have the Jack Attack, and the top tier is TY. We have a video about it. Check it out on our channel where we explain what perks each membership gives you. So, folks, please check it out. Meanwhile, we'd like to thank our channel members. Austin, would you like to read them off?
I will. I will go ahead and do that. Kinky Sphincter, Justin Hines, yeah. Ridley 1313, Sean Adame, Adam Silvestri, JWJ, Billy Robert, Prakash Swain, Caden Reed, Nick Carr, and Ty R. Thank you guys so much for being members of the channel. We promise we have some fun, cool, exclusive stuff coming up soon, and especially as we get more members. We're going to be, doing more things like member-only streams, Q&As with us. I think the highest tier with Ty, if you're a TY, right, of the member, you can request a watch party with any one of us. So of a movie of your choosing. So we will sit down on Twitch. We'll invite you with the stream, and we'll sit and watch a movie with you, and we'll talk about it afterwards. So yeah, man. Trust me. We're fun to talk about movies with. We're fun. We'll get into it with you for sure.
We'll get into it. Speaking of watch parties, you guys did one for Loki last night. So here we go. So originally, we weren't really planning on talking about Loki all that much. Like we were just going to talk about it. But last week we did a deep dive into the episode. I watched it twice. I think you probably watched it twice also, right? Yeah. And I have to say right off the bat, if you guys saw, I say this every week, you saw my Jack Attack on WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier. As disappointing as those shows were for me personally, this show within 2 episodes has been so well done. There's been zero filler. Yeah, we got introduced to the villain at the end of the second episode, but there's just so much going on in this episode. This show is incredibly clever. And again, when it starts, I don't know where it's going. I'm not like, oh yeah, I know where this is going. I see where this is going. Not at all. And every time it subverts my expectations.
Yeah, and you were the one that brought up that you read some article or something that this was somebody was writing this with some inspiration from David Fincher and things like that. And I was like, that's so weird. And in these first 2 episodes, I see it. I can see the David Fincher in there. A little bit of Fight Club, a little bit. Love the introduction of Detective Loki in this episode. I thought that was so cool. It's such a different version of Loki, but still, he tries to manipulate his way out of it, and Mobius catches him. But there was just a lot. This was another episode where there was so much to take in. I had to watch it twice. In fact, I watched it right after our watch party because I was just like I was so hyped up. I had to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I agree with you. This show is kicking ass. I think this is by far, this is what Marvel needed, especially on the TV side, right? Now, today also, early reviews have started dropping for Black Widow. And a lot of people are talking about the one thing that will separate Marvel and the TV shows, right? Is the MCU action. Is Black Widow apparently does have some very big MCU action sequences that while, Falcon and the Winter Soldier has some and all that, it says it reminds you why the Marvel movies are Marvel movies.
I have an overlay of Black Widow. Hold on. Here we go.
Okay. Hey, close enough.
There's Black Widow. There we go.
Oh man, Ryan, you don't have Disney Plus. Dang, dude.
Dude, it's cheap as hell. I think, was it $7?
Yeah, and we do watch parties for.
We do watch parties,
for Loki, so you can tune in on Twitch and just watch it for free with us. So
yeah, we do. But right off the bat, so it opens in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, 1985. A lot of people are speculating. So they're at a Renaissance fair, right? That this lady right here is supposed to be Agatha Harkness. Now it's not. They're not saying it's Catherine Hahn.
Sounds very much. It's not Catherine Hahn, but she even sounds personality wise. I thought that. I did think that.
And a lot of people are saying that that's her in disguise, or it's possible that this was filmed before WandaVision. Am I correct?
Correct.
So it's possible Catherine Hahn wasn't cast yet, so they just were like, kind of like, all right, we need someone to kind of be in whatever, kind of like a stand-in or whatever. But interesting enough, this caught my eye. 1985. Do you know what time traveling movie came out and is set in 1985?
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. I was like, that can't be an accident. So basically, they start off here in 1985, and there's another agent we meet named C20. Here is Agent C20. No, that's not her. Whoops.
Oh my gosh, Jack! Stop
there we go. And they're in the Renaissance Fair tent, and they're searching for her. And for like the 5th time in pop culture, we heard "Holding Out for a Hero" again. We heard it in the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer.
Okay. Masters of the Universe trailer.
Masters of the Universe.
What the actual heck?
Did that song become fair use or something? Like everyone's using it.
Something, even Bonnie Tyler. Now, what's funny is Bonnie Tyler did respond. By the way, guys, Bonnie Tyler is the
singer,
artist who sings.
Yeah. I need a hero.
I need a hero. Da, da. And so, yeah, anyways, she even tweeted out and she was like, "This is awesome." She saw the Masters of the Universe.
She's making a lot of money,
and she's like, "This is cool." I was like, Ryan said, "That's a great picture of Black Widow." Yeah. We keep that in the
Black Widow
in the special pop culture corner file folder.
Actually, we were supposed to talk about this on Tuesday, but Austin said no. Let's talk about a fridge. He's like, yeah, let's talk about a free fridge, a $200
Xbox
fridge.
Guys.
Yeah, but we're introduced again to the Loki variant, who we actually do get to see at the end.
Right,
and
so she impersonates, or it gets whatever you call acts as that person. Takes over evil.
She kills everyone, but takes this one, C20, I believe, hostage.
Yes, and that's the first one she's taken hostage.
That's the first one she's taken hostage, and of course, this is all. And Loki warns them this is a trap. She's taking one alive because she knows Loki's coming. She knows the TVA's coming, and this is all an elaborate trap. And in this episode, there's a constant kind of thing where, like, what's that name? Raynor, or what's her name? Ravonna?
Ravenna. Yeah, Ravenna.
Yeah, she's like always like, well, I don't trust Loki. We can't trust him, but he's actually giving them so much valuable information. Yeah,
to a certain extent, he obviously tried to manipulate them.
Yeah, he did.
Tried to get away.
So she gets away, and then I loved this scene. So again, you mentioned last week, this is Tara Strong, and they mentioned the red line. Do you remember that? Like, what happens when you hit the red line?
Yes. You don't want to hit the red line.
The red line is, I guess, if the timeline keeps branching, right, that will lead, and she says it right here, to the destruction of the timeline. So this is introduced in the second episode. By the way, the TV over there, that kind of 70s tube computer, reminded me a bit of Fallout.
It does look a bit Fallout-y,
like those computers you see in Fallout.
Even the clock is a bit Fallout-y to me.
Yeah, the clock is very Fallout-y. And it's interesting. If you look at the magazine he's reading, it's a jet ski magazine. This comes up a little bit later with Mobius. I always want to say Morbius, but Mobius. But he's talking to Miss Mint. Then he's like, "Wait, are you real? Are you like Siri? Are you like a pre-programmed set of responses?" And he starts like swatting at it.
Right, trying to
he's
get
like swatting at a.
Yeah, and Mobius comes out. Put my jet ski magazine down, dude.
That is not nice, jerk. I hope that this character is kind of recurring. But I love the way Loki was kind of dressed. He's kind of wearing like this. He's dressed like a 70s computer salesman or a vacuum salesman,
Right. Or I did get, it was a very agent look,
Yeah.
And so you have like kind of this agent / detective Loki.
Yeah.
I love that whole scene where, they do travel, right, to the event, and he tries to get away, and he goes on this whole elaborate thing, right? And he goes, there's a saying on Asgard, and all this, and I see a scheme, and in that scheme I see myself, and he had me convinced. He had me. I was like, oh wow, like,
you're getting out of us, Austin. I got those scenes ready, baby. Ready, baby. But before they head out, I gotta admit, I keep calling her Kahina. I think her name is B30 or B15. She's the black one who was in Batman vs Superman. Who's like. I don't think he answers to anyone. Like, she's like, turn around, and what does your jacket say? And it says variant.
It
kind of reminded me of Deadpool, where he's got the trainee thing on.
Exactly.
Trainee. Yeah. But by the way, he rocks that jacket, man. He looks so cool.
And he does it. Like I said, very detective agent, Loki look. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Also, one thing we see before they take off is the different versions of Loki. We see like the bulked up version of Loki.
Yeah.
You see all exactly. You see that. So it's cool. We're gonna see some.
And what happens is they explain an aspect of Loki's powers, and they talk about what is it? Projection versus duplication. And Loki goes into detail. There's a difference between projecting and duplication, and this, of course, is going to play a big role coming up later. And they don't know this, and you find out that TVA is not as all-knowing as they think they are. But he explains all this stuff to her, and the dialogue with him and Kahina is just so funny. But Loki's basically saying, "I want to meet the timekeepers."
Yeah,
he keeps telling Mobius, "I want to meet the timekeepers." And, I want an audience with them. And, of course, Mobius doesn't promise him that, but Mobius kind of keeps him a little bit, like, on the line, kind of implying that, like, okay, like, maybe.
Hey, do a good job, and maybe we can, exactly,
Yeah. But the whole time, they don't trust him. And so then Loki said something interesting that even I thought about. He was like, why can't we just go, like, so if we know that on 1985 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, there was a variant event, why can't we just go like 5 minutes before? And they kind of explained that can't be done. Like, once a variant event happens, you can't go ahead of it and try to stop it. That's not how it works. That creates even more problems. Again, dealing with the red line, which I thought was kind of cool. And the next scene, Loki finally arrives. They come to Wisconsin.
Right.
And then for a second, I actually believe what Loki was saying. He's like, if you leave this tent, you'll end up like them. She's waiting out there. And I was like, oh, damn. And then he compares the TVA to the gods of Asgard. He's like, you're both freaking gullible.
Yeah.
And I think this is a line you were talking about, or at least one of them. He says, where there are wolf's ears, wolf's teeth are near. Last week you were talking about like how it's very Shakespearean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was a very exact that. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, that this whole monologue that he did, not only had me convinced, but it was very Shakespearean and he was just so, he had me for a second.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually thought he was actually being honest. I was like, because like you were saying, he's still villainous. I think he's more like, he can still be selfish. He can still be like, evil. He can, or not evil, but mischievous, but also do the right thing, as opposed to doing the wrong thing. Does that make sense to you?
To a certain extent, yeah. Because I still have my theories for how the show will end. I don't think he's going to be as redeemed as everybody thinks. But
and this will even plug into like the end of the show. I have a shot of him right before he leaves. We'll talk about that at the end. But I don't know if he was leaving because he wanted to escape. I think he legit was interested in finding out who this other Loki was.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
But he says it. Go ahead.
And even possibly, stopping her, because now there is something he has learned, right? And I don't think people really understood this from the first episode, is he understands now the power of the TVA. And he understands, seeing that these Infinity Stones and the Tesseract and his powers and things like that don't work there.
Yeah.
He understands there is something about this timeline that needs to be protected. That's why I think there's, he says in episode 1, he goes, I can't go back, can I? Because there's no, and it's setting in on him that I actually can't mess with that timeline. I need to let what happens.
He even says,
happen.
I have a new purpose, but I need assurances. Like, he's kind of like, stuck in the middle where, like, he wants to help, but he's not going to help unconditionally.
Now, so he understands that. So there's even that possibility that he's going after her, for that curiosity, and that she may screw up. What if she kills, Thor or the Avengers on accident, or, what? Because now, obviously, spoilers, guys. The episode ends, and look, we're still going to break down the rest of the episode and stuff, but just to correlate
this is interesting what he's saying right here. So he says the variants of Loki make no sense, compounded on the fact that time travel is so contradictory. there is a sacred timeline, varying branches from that timeline. So there's only one and only one version of everything. So there can't be a Hulk Loki or Lady Loki or Soccer Loki. So I think the point he's making is if there's only one sacred timeline and the TVA has been stopping other timelines, where are these other variants coming from? Which is a good question.
Right. So they're coming from, and that's kind of what they explain, right? They're hiding. They are hiding in apocalypses. They are hiding in events where whatever they do doesn't affect history, because literally, like Pompeii.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. But like, I think these are ones that have been caught, like from other timelines. Like my assumption was, Carlos, that these were from branching timelines. They were caught, and those timelines were erased. It's not like they're out there running. You know what I mean? Like those variants were caught, those timelines were erased, and therefore, that's the end of that. Like it's not like, yeah, Ryan, see you. Thanks for being here. Please, Ryan, come back and check out the trial of Amber Heard. I know you guys are going to have fun. I wish Caden were here because I know Caden loves Amber Heard. It's like his favorite actress.
Right.
I'm joking, of course. But there's a scene after this where Mobius talks with Renslayer, Ravonna, and there's a close-up of this pen, Franklin D. Roosevelt High School, and he says, that must be that analyst you keep on the side. And he keeps joking about this other analyst, like, oh, those rings on the coffee table, they're from another analyst. What do you think about that? I don't think those are throwaway lines.
No, absolutely not. They're not throwaway. They're not throwaway lines. I had a theory. I'm not sure on it. I was thinking maybe it's Kane, possibly. I know, but also if he's a timekeeper, it's kind of I don't know. It's maybe. Look, we know, like we've talked about before, Marvel likes to take things from the comics, play around with them, so it could be very well that like Ravonna is a more evil role, kind of, and Kane is not necessarily working for her, but more working towards her plan, not his necessarily. Like a plan that he agrees with, and then also the love interest. So it's possible Marvel's going to play around with it, but that was kind of the only thing that I could think of as to who else could be giving her information.
Did you get a vibe that maybe there was a something at some point between Ravonna and Mobius, that maybe there was a relationship there? You didn't get that vibe?
Absolutely not. No.
She's like, I know your other favorite analyst, like you've seen someone on the side type of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into that.
Yeah, I think you're reading too much into it. I think if anything, there is a history of maybe friendship, very strong friendship.
Very strong friendship. Okay.
Because she tells him, she goes, you have a soft spot for broken things.
Yeah.
I know you, and even then there's a moment, right, when he's talking to her and he goes, it's on his, the second time, right, after Loki tries to escape. He goes, no, he's actually doing really good work this time.
Yeah.
And he starts telling, he goes, look, I'm excited about this. I haven't been, and she looks at him and she just smiles. She gets this like really nice one. And it's that friend smile of like, and she goes, okay, I'm going to let you do this, So there is that hint, I think, of history, between the two characters. I don't think necessarily a relationship, but maybe they worked together in the field several times, and now they're higher ranked. I know last week there was a lot of speculation that maybe they were timekeepers, or they are timekeepers, because they have that exchange in the courtroom where she kind of looks down on him and he goes, I like this. I like this angle of the two of us. It suits you. It suits you. I like it. And so I there's definitely history, but I think that that theory was squashed with this episode. I don't think they're timekeepers. Because she's very much still referring to, he goes, how are the old timekeepers? And she goes, they're so. And
he admits he's
very
never
interesting,
met them.
right? He admits he's never met them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, right? What's happening there as to who are the timekeepers? What are their purpose?
Yeah.
There's another thing that Loki continues, and that the entirety of the episode continues to push in on, and I think it's it's something that's going to prepare us for, my end theory, which is I think that by the end it's going to be revealed that the TVA is evil, or that the timekeepers are evil, and and that they have ulterior motives. Mm-hmm. And if you notice in yesterday's episode, even in the first episode a little bit, there is this overemphasis of how can these people who are, Loki basically says it this way, right? He goes, the one thing I've learned is not all good people are good and not all bad people are bad.
Man, if we didn't have a limit, I would have screenshot every piece of dialogue in that scene. I only took 3, but this is the scene you're talking about.
There's no such thing as free will.
There's no such thing.
They keep emphasizing this thing of like, how can this all-controlling thing be a good thing or be free will, right? And it's kind of you can kind of argue, it's a religion.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I wrote here religion versus atheism. Like
exactly. And Mobius is the religious person, and he goes, I just know. And Mobius makes some great points too, because Loki goes, listen to yourself. The TVA created you, and he goes, look at you. You're the god of mischief, the son of Odin, the god of that created every. He goes, listen to yourself. He goes, he says, we're all it's all insane.
He says, all our origins are silly, but we believe what we believe. And there's this kind of, Loki's kind of given, I guess you say for lack of a better word, the atheist or agnostic approach. Like, you really don't know. You've never met the TVA. And not to mention there's 3 of them. There's kind of a Trinitarian aspect, Father, Son, Holy Spirit kind of thing. This Thirsty Thursday. What are you drinking?
Let's take a second. I got some sweet tea. Some sort of sweet tea.
Sure.
Right. Some sort of sweet tea.
Yeah. That might have been one of the...
I do want to address Carlos real quick.
Carlos, go ahead.
Let's get... And Gavin, what's up, Gavin? Always good to see Gavin like that. All right. So I'm going to go through just Carlos's comments real quick. Is history infinitely repeating to have that cosmic probability of them existing? And if there's multiple timelines, that means there is a multiverse. Then why say there's a sacred timeline if there isn't just one? Makes no sense. The show breaks the MCU too much for me. So okay, and that's one thing that I think, right, they're gonna address. I think they're gonna address by the end of the series. I think the TVA is lying. They are lying to everybody. They are manipulating people into thinking there is this sacred timeline, quote unquote, right? And I think that's what's going to be revealed at the end, that there isn't necessarily the sacred timeline. There's multiple, and all the And one thing I talked about too, and I think in our first breakdown, was I think Loki is he's learning a lot of things he didn't know, right? Obviously, he had no idea about the TVA. He had no idea about all these timelines. So he's taking in a lot. He's also giving them a lot of information they didn't know, as we talked about, with the difference between, impersonation and whatever. Yeah. So I think he's absorbing all this information, right? That by the end of it, he's going to use it to his advantage.
To his advantage. Also, and I could be wrong here. Alternate timelines to me don't necessarily mean multiverse. My understanding was multiverse means different dimensions that are outside of our space and time.
Right.
Like they're completely different universes.
It's a different
That's that string theory thing. It's not like, the butterfly effect created another timeline. It's the same universe, but multiverse, and again, anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, is a different dimension.
I believe you're right.
Universe that has a different origin, that has a completely different set of events that happened. So if let's say you go to Back to the Future, the alternate 1985 that's created Back to the Future 2, it's still one universe. It's not like, that's a completely different universe with a completely different Marty and a completely different Doc. It's the same people in the same universe, but they branched off into a different timeline. So the multiverse, so the idea, our Andrew Garfield is not in an alternate timeline. He's in a completely different universe.
Yeah.
Same thing with DC. Michael Keaton's Batman is in a different universe than the Christian Bale Batman, who's in another universe that has its own history, its own origins, its own unique perspectives. So like, if there's time traveling, I feel like there was probably going to be time traveling in Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? And Joker says, how many timelines are you destroying? He doesn't say universes. He's talking about like it's the same universe, but different timelines.
They're just reversing it. They're just reversing it and back to fix it.
Exactly.
We're going to a different universe.
Yeah.
So the current one's staying the same. We're in a whole nother reality, basically.
And I encourage you all, not that I'm an expert on it, look up the whole idea of string theories and multi-universes. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert. The idea is not that timelines are a different universe. It's the same universe. Different dimensions might be a better word, like you're going to another world where but speaking of timeline, go ahead. Yeah.
Carlos says, like there's the quantum, there's the quantum realm, the dark dimension outside of time, the mirror dimension. What about them? So obviously, and I think we're going to see more of those as well. Look, Marvel is just transitioning into a whole new era, right?
Yeah.
We just had the Infinity Saga, which was a lot of space. The 27 Infinity
movies.
Stones, 27 movies. It was a lot. It was a lot of, trying to ground it, but also I think Marvel has done a really good job of grounding their movies, but also leaning into that fantasy aspect that, Zack really, I think, leaned more into in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Or not even necessarily that, because I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is more plausible a bit than the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
To be honest,
they're more fantasy.
None of it is plausible. Right? For some reason, I would believe that Zack Snyder's stuff
could happen.
More in reality could happen. Yeah, exactly. But look, I still separate, right, that the MCU is fantasy and all that. Look, I just separate that, right? So I know it's a fantasy, but I think they do a good job, right? You have movies like Iron Man, Shang-Chi, and all that, and then you have movies.
And dude,
like
even
Guardians.
within those movies, like the Hulk changed actors.
Sure,
you kind of have to let it go. Don Cheadle doesn't look like Terrence Howard. Whatever.
Yeah,
like you have to kind of.
There's a lot you have to. I think you have to lean into the fantasy, and I think they do a good job even with you have the Guardian stuff that's full on fantasy and stuff, and even those they make very human stories, by making about like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I just rewatched that father-son relationship, and that that's the heart of the story. It is sometimes your real father isn't always there, but then Yondu was that guy,
or Odin.
Exactly. Or Odin in the Loki story.
Yeah.
So they do a good job of taking the fantasy stories and giving it a humanity core, like that. And at this point, I think you just have to lean into it. I've kind of given up on the whole criticizing the time travel stuff, just because, like, I think until we invent time travel in reality, which we haven't yet.
Yeah. All rules.
It's fair game. It's fair
everything's
game.
Fair game. Yeah.
Like I honestly don't really criticize time travel movies that much, just because it's like, that's never gonna happen. Do what you want. Sure, I'll believe it. It's a movie,
But speaking of which, I wanted to touch on this. Speaking of Odin, there's a great scene where Loki, after talking to Mobius, he's like, "Give me all the files on the timekeepers." Like, you can't touch that.
Right.
What can I look at? He gives him a set of files. And again, another brilliant piece of acting. So Loki gets this and reads about the destruction of Asgard. So again, the alternate timeline where Loki took the time stone and disappeared is erased. So the original timeline is still in play. He reads about Ragnarok, the destruction of Asgard. And I took two shots here. This is the first shot of it, just his eyes. And again, I've always said this guy is a phenomenal actor. He does so much. Like, there's so much ambiguity in his performance. Like, what is he thinking there? And, he reads this: 0 variance energy detected, meaning he can't change it. Entire civilization annihilated. 9,719 people died on Asgard. Because he'd always wondered in Ragnarok, did they get everyone off? Everyone? And turns out, no, 9,000 people were left behind. men, women, and children. And then look at his emotion right here. I mean, look at that right there. You see the tears starting to form. I tried to get a better shot of it, but I mean, he is such a good actor, just a freaking good actor.
He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. And look, I think he absolutely nailed the scene. Yeah. So I don't see it as this way. So I see those branches going off as right. They're different timelines, but those Lokis that he's talking about, aren't in those timelines. Yeah. So those timelines are branches of the sacred timeline. The main universe, Earth, whatever this is, right? We haven't even gotten into the multiverse yet. Yeah. We haven't even gotten there. I think we're just about to, because this episode ends with Lady Loki literally blowing up the sacred timeline.
Yeah, yeah. And to jump on your point, Austin, like you were giving the example that because we don't know anything about multiple universes in real life or time travel, there's kind of like an all rules kind of apply. Like Terminator has its own set of rules. There's only one timeline in Terminator. Back to the Future has its own timeline. But to what you're saying, Juan Carlos, if there's only one universe, there's one timeline. If you rewrite history, you change the course. All right, so let's use your rewinding a tape thing. Let's say I have a copy of the theatrical version of Batman vs. Superman, right? And then I have the Ultimate Edition. Those are not two different timelines. You have extra footage that takes place in the same timeline. In the same way, you can have alternate footage and alternate shots and alternate versions of the same story, like Zack Snyder's Justice League. There are two versions of the same story that are kind of both set in the same timeline. I know this is kind of like, I'm kind of stretching it, and it's like Loki's salad example. Where is that hat? Here we go. He takes a salad and he explains that.
Yeah. Poor Mobius. He goes, no, that is not the main timeline. That's my salad. And I want to eat that. I thought that was so great.
I thought it was phenomenal. I mean, but like in episode 1, we had a really clever moment of Loki, where again, we see how clever it is. But again, this scene where he uses a salad as an example, he says, okay, so we detect time variances based on branch lines being created, right? Well, let's say there's a cataclysmic event like the destruction of Asgard.
Yeah.
If someone goes there and does 200 variances or 200 misfits, if the place is getting destroyed, will that show up? And that's where we get to Pompeii. They go to 79 AD. I want, again, with StreamYard, we have a limit of how many images we can take, but I took this one. Be free, my horned friends. Who else wears horns?
Yep. There you go. Mephisto! It's the devil! Mephisto confirmed, guys! I'm telling you.
I love this scene.
That was it.
He goes in there, he's like, I'm from the future, you're all gonna die, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. And he realizes I don't believe it. 0 variance energy. Here's Loki from the future disrupting the sacred timeline. And for those of you who don't know, Pompeii was an actual Roman city that was destroyed by Mount Vesuvius, completely destroyed. All the people are dead. In fact, to this day, you can find their bodies not frozen, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like when the lava takes you over and you still hold that form. It's actually pretty terrifying. He goes back there and he's like, holy crap. You just found a major plot hole or major plot security, not plot hole, but like major
security hole.
Security hole. Breach. That's what I was looking for. Breach
in our security. Yep. And that's another thing, right? That Ravina brings up to him. And she's like, that's what I'm worried about. He's doing things that we haven't thought of. We didn't think about this stuff, and Loki's kind of there just poking holes and that's where I think, we're going to see some fun mischief stuff. We're going to see, a lot of classic comic Loki and hopefully they'll do that. They'll do the other Loki variants.
Okay, so let's address that, the Loki variants. You can't have one universe simultaneously having a Loki in 2012 and a Hulk Loki or a Lady Loki or a Goat Loki in 2012. But did they say that was all in the same timeline?
No.
And the other thing is, you read the comics, and I'm not going to pretend I know. Is Lady Loki the daughter of Loki, or is it a version of Loki that happens to be female?
I'm not too familiar with Lady Loki from the comics, so I can't answer that. I'll be honest with you. Yeah.
Here's what I remember from the first episode.
Yeah.
When they show the first time we see Lady Loki's cloak, they say this item is from the year 3000. Could this be a daughter of Loki that hasn't been born yet?
Could be. Wow, that's an actual.
Would they have the same aura?
That's a great theory.
Hey guys,
it's a multiverse version.
Okay.
That's okay. Yeah. So that's exactly what I was about to say. That I think she's from a multiverse. It's
not the daughter of Loki.
Okay.
And you'll see that in the episode, they go through like a holographic set of alternate Lokis.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Right. So these are all multiverse versions. No, it's not his daughter, because if it was his daughter, he would have recognized her.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That was my theory.
I don't know if you're reading the comments, Ty. So that one Carlos is saying, like, well, if there's only one sacred timeline, how can there be a Hulk Loki or a this Loki or that Loki? And I'm saying that there's a difference between multiverse and different timelines. So, for example, like, you know, you have different timelines, but let's say Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is a completely different universe from the Tom Holland Spider-Man. That's two different things, two different dimensions with their own history. But so I guess he's saying, well, how can there still be a Hulk Loki in the sacred timeline?
Right. And that's what we're saying. Yeah. It's not in that universe. That holograph and all that was, and that's what I was going to say too. I agree with Ty's theory. It's their multiverse. They're not from this universe. They are straight up from, like, in Lady Loki's universe. It's a whole different origin, history, world, life thing. Nothing is the same as what's going on here in the MCU. The interesting question now is, why is she blowing up the sacred timeline? What's her deal? Because she looks at Loki and she goes, this isn't about you.
Never about you.
Yeah, this was never about you. Yeah. What's up, everyone in the chat? Yo. We thank you for joining us.
That girl, Madeline. Oh, my God. She's so beautiful. Oh, my God.
Whoa. Easy, Tiger.
Who, her?
Yeah, Peter Parker here. And,
you're talking about Mad Zeppelin. I thought you were talking about the Lady Loki. I'm like, is her name Mad?
No. Mad Zeppelin's way better looking.
Oh, okay. I mean, don't be hitting on our customers.
Her and I have been, I don't know, dating, I suppose.
That's the Madeline you're talking about.
Yeah.
I never made that connection because I'm an idiot.
I guess you could call it dating. Maybe I ruined it by just saying that. I don't know.
Yeah, you just cost us
the member, Ty.
Well, we'll be
so guys,
nice to meet you, Madeline.
I gotta go finish. I do have so basically what me and Austin did was we got some scoops and it's about The Last of Us.
Yes.
So we're going to be dropping them today. I'm finishing up that, and I'm finishing up a skit, and hopefully we can get those in by the end of the show.
Okay.
I'm gonna go do that. I have the hiccups. Sorry.
I was just saying, I love it.
It's bad.
Cersei Thursday. He's been drinking. And Tom, you're very well dressed. Seems like you're going to court, maybe.
Yeah, I might be going to court. Today, pop culture corner style. But guys, please, you can hear that hiccup. Share the show on social media, please. Let's get a bigger audience in here.
Yeah, let's get a good chat going. We will respond.
Yeah, I know. This is the smallest audience we have, although we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, people like Madeline. If you want me to pay for your membership, I can do that for you. We're trying to get members in here, so we can do exclusive stuff. Jack is tremendous. Austin is tremendous.
Well, I don't know about Austin.
We're tremendous, okay? Let me tell you, Jack, and Ty, they're amazing. They're the best in the world. Never met anyone like them.
Yeah, and I have a couple of videos that will be debuting in the next day or two about Loki, about some other stuff as well. But those will all be member exclusives. And And then our live in July is kicking off with several actors, several people in film. We're going to be doing that for breast cancer fundraiser, as I've lost my mother to it. Yep. So, if you guys could all be there for that, it would truly make my day. And then obviously on Wednesday, we're going to be doing full panel discussions. Yeah. Anyone who's a member can jump on. That will be strictly enforced in the next couple of weeks. So you have to be a member to join those things. Yeah. The first couple of weeks, we'll show you that it is worth it.
We'll be a little loosey-goosey with it now.
Loosey-goosey until then, but
just a little bit, just a tad.
Listen, our lowest tier starts at $2.99. It's not a big deal. And I know
that's nothing.
It's nothing. It's nothing. So guys, we truly appreciate you. We're trying to grow this brand big. We're trying to get it up there, and we can only do that with you. I love you. You guys make every day worth waking up for me. And every day of mine goes into creating content specifically for you. So if you do have anything that you want to talk about, email me at pop.culturecorner2020@gmail.com. Send a tip in, and if it's appropriate, if it's appropriate, my hiccups, man.
How do you get rid of hiccups? Is there
hold your breath?
Hold your breath. Okay. There's a bunch of
remedies. If you're drunk, like really drunk, they go away and then come back.
Oh. Yeah.
It's really annoying as hell. I'm like really drunk. Like,
but I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. Damn it, Austin, and your stupid hiccups. Go Google that stuff.
But the more members we have, the better off we are. Being able to support the channel. Guys, send super chats. I know it's not the coolest thing, or we're not as big yet, but we are not stopping till we get to the top. So guys, get in on the ground floor. We have so much in the works. So much, like literally, I know I keep saying that, but I have pages upon pages written of cool little videos, and those are going to be member exclusives, plus our regular live streams and podcasts. A lot of changes happening. The podcast on Saturday, it'll feature someone new every week, whether it be Poindexter Lounge or Jack or Austin. So each week on the podcast, we'll get different perspectives, kind of a mix between Joe Rogan, except in our industry. So we have a lot moving forward with. Guys, Jivin with Jack, support it, guys. Super chats. They're doing so much, and they're doing so much for you guys. And Jack and Austin have done such a good job with planning and getting content ready that they would watch themselves. So definitely reward them, and let's shoot for the stars, baby. I'll be back because we have a
look at that one, Carlos.
There we go.
Yeah,
well, Carlos, by the way, the more money you send, the more I will agree with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. The less I'll harass you in the chats. I will.
Thank you so much.
I'll be back for the Amber Heard court case. But what was I gonna say? I'll be back for that. I just as a bystander, but I will be back tonight. I'm just gonna go edit some clips so that we can go bring them in, and I will see you soon, guys.
All right. Good. And,
all right. Love you both.
I love you too.
In the words of "Love You, Man," in the words of Ben Stiller from Tropic Thunder, you make me happy.
All right. All right. Wow.
Wow.
You know what? I always hate the whole Simple Jack thing because that's my name. Simple Jack. You are Simple Jack. You should have got Oscar.
Dude, that is too funny.
I am in talks with Jared and Jensen, not for next month, but they are shooting Supernatural. I'm not Supernatural. The Boys and Walker, and I was able to work something out where after the series ends, or both series ends, we're gonna try to get them on, and the agents are all about it because I'm so passionate, and I've had Mark Pellegrino, I've had Kim Rhodes, so that is in the works, guys. I'm gonna get rid of these hiccups. I'm gonna edit, and
there's some good vibes towards that, guys.
Yep, I will be back soon. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be back soon, guys. So for those of you just joining us, we are going to do the trial of Amber Heard. If you like gossip and you like stuff, it's going to be really fun. Austin will be the prosecutor. Tyler will be the defendant, and I will be Judge Jivin Jack. It's a different character. It's a different segment, and we will be putting on a trial, and you will be the jury. But I will also be the bailiff, so it should be fun.
I'm the judge.
We're gonna go into it. We're gonna get into it. But if you join us, that'll be coming up soon.
Brooke, back into the Loki stuff, right?
No, I want to talk about this. Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Right. So, obviously, I think this lady Loki, she's from a whole different multiverse, as Ty said, right? So I think, like the Hulk Loki and, all these, they're all going to be from different multiverse. The big question is right now, she's blown up the sacred timeline. It ends with, everybody taking off to try and fix that. So my question is, now we know about, different branches in the timeline stuff. Is this next episode going to be the one where we get, okay, this is the multiverse. This is where you get your other Lokis. This is where, crazy stuff is going to start to happen.
You want to hear something really awful my sister said?
What did your sister say?
My sister said this. I did not, but I will back her up. Because I kind of thought the same things. Like, couldn't they have gotten someone more attractive? And I was like, damn, girl. Dude, women are vicious. I mean, men are vicious too, but she was like, couldn't have gotten someone more prettier? I'm like, damn.
I thought she was good. I thought she was good.
Yeah, I thought she was stunning and great.
You're just throwing your sister under the bus.
Oh, yeah. My sister doesn't care. She is so on PC. She's a working lady. No, wait, no, working lady is a prostitute. She is
man, you just digging a deeper hole, man.
She's not, because she lives right next door. She's on the other side of this wall. My sister has a very good job, has a master's degree, and she very fashionable lady. Like she dresses really well. She doesn't wear anything unless it's name brand. She's one of those types. But like the first time she saw her, my sister was like, could they gotten someone prettier? I'm like,
oh my gosh, I will say, yeah, that's
like she said it, not me.
Yeah,
but I was expecting a brunette, maybe someone who maybe looked not like Tom Hiddleston, but darker hair. But
so we get that frog Thor from the comics.
Frog Thor, guys. Nick Carr.
Nick Carr,
my man. Nick, thank you for coming by. We're missing Precaution Caden because we're going to be doing that trial soon, that trial is coming up.
That's right.
Amber Heard, and we need you guys. You guys will be the judge, jury. I'll be the executioner. No, I'm the judge. And you will be the jury. You will be the paparazzi. And you will be in the comments. And if you think the power is going to my head now, wait till I put that judge's robe on.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, Nick, I love. Thank you so much. Listen, we really appreciate it. Look, we're trying to grow the channel. We're trying to get bigger and bigger. We're trying to do giveaways. We have monetized. But we need you. You guys. I remember we used to do shows. It'd be like 2 people. Like this is how many people used to watch our show, and now we're averaging sometimes 80 views, 90 views, 100 views. Last night, 160. I think it's up to 170 now.
That one, Carlos wants to be the bailiff. Oh,
yeah.
I kind of like that idea.
Look, if we get to 100 views per every video, I will send her to your house. She will come to your house.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
you are obsessed with that photo.
I forgot to delete it, so it's in here.
Now you're just going to leave it there, aren't you?
Yeah. Again, we were going to talk about this. I had about 20 of these images to talk about feminism, but he was like, no, let's talk about E3.
My goodness.
That's Austin.
Goodness. Yeah.
I had so many salacious photos, and we were going to have an intellectual conversation about that. we were going to talk about, well, look, she's making a very strong feminist point, but does it get lost because guys are going to be like, oh, she's so hot, instead of like focusing on the message? But no, we have to talk about that stupid Xbox fridge and Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game.
Right. I'm not sure.
Anyway,
I'm not sure two male perspectives are the best for a conversation on feminism.
Well, why not? Well, hold on. You're assuming my gender.
Are you gender fluid?
I don't know. You don't know? Maybe.
You're gonna pull a Tom Hardy.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. You're just gonna. I like
the security guard who tackles. Well, I will also be the security guard because my last name is Sheriff. So everyone always says Sharaf, Sharif. I'm like, look, it's like the cop, Sheriff.
Gavin Cooley said feminism and E3 are basically the same thing. I like it. I'm dead.
No, but, people really overreact to that. But anyway, let's get back to Loki. All right, let me get another picture of Loki up again. Oh, wait, wrong one. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
Yeah, this guy. So let's talk about this. First of all, they arrive at Roxxcart. Is that a reference to Roxxon Corporation?
I believe so. I believe
like
it
that
is.
might be like
they did come out and say it is. I think they did say it is a reference to that from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that.
It's an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it was also in Daredevil.
Yes.
And
so that's another interesting thing, guys, because this show could be the show to bring to finally make those things canon. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Daredevil, all those types of things.
He was talking about the music video.
But this could be the show to do it because, like we said, right now we only know about different timelines in the sacred timeline, different branches that go off. We haven't even talked about the multiverse yet, where Daredevil is, where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a weird one because obviously Agent Coulson is like the lead, and he's obviously from the MCU. But
but they don't mention that he's alive.
Kevin Feige refuses to claim that show.
Didn't he create it? No, it was Joss Whedon created that one.
No, he did not create it.
Joss Whedon did.
Joss helped, but no, he was not. Kevin was not necessarily behind the ABC stuff. He wasn't a big,
No.
So I don't think.
But I heard Kevin is a fan of the Daredevil show. He's not saying it's canon, but he did. He
is a big fan of the Daredevil show.
Let me just say that Joss Whedon is a loser. He's a loser.
Jed Whedon.
But
oh my God.
Okay, so I thought this entire this final sequence was phenomenal. Again, I wish I could screenshot every piece of dialogue between him and the variant. Do you think Loki's telling the truth here when he's like, I stalled for time for you. I've been trying to find you. I'm actually helping you because I want to take over. He wants to take over the TVA. I'm not doubting that, but do you think he really wants some Loki variant help, or do you think he's BSing us?
He's gonna use him and backstab. I mean, what is? I mean, that was a big thing in this episode. You literally stab people in the back. That's what he does. And so I think they're gonna keep that. I don't think there should be a change to that because that's Loki. He can do, like you said, he can do the right thing in the moment.
The way this show is written, I'm sometimes worried. We're talking about is Loki fooling others? Is he fooling us too? It's very much possible that, he wants to overthrow the TVA, maybe, but he still wants to capture this variant. He could be lying to that variant and saying, oh, I need a lieutenant, which is how the British say lieutenant. I need your help to take over, blah, blah, blah. And this kind of ties back to an earlier point because he says right here, if I can go back, because this variant is better than you and you can't take it. And you can tell Loki's like, she's not better than me. And he has something to prove here. He's like, I can outsmart you.
Right. Yeah. And he's definitely intrigued. He's very intrigued. I mean, look, she beats the crap out of him too. Mm-hmm. So there is that, that interest, right? As to, who is this trick and all that. But I think he's going to learn, right?
I had a nitpick about that. So she takes over this gentleman here, then takes over Kahina from Batman vs. Superman. And we could say about her when she was possessed by the variant Loki, she answered to no one, not even God, I think.
Oh, God.
But then she takes over like the fat trucker. Okay, so here's the thing. when Loki's back on Earth, he has some semblance of his powers, doesn't he? Wasn't it a little bit crazy how that one dude was able to beat the crap out of him? Because he's an Asgardian, or he's a fat frost giant, rather.
Right.
Or when the variant takes over a body, does that make that body stronger? Because he's beating the crap out of Loki. And I'm like, dude, he's at least a frost giant. Okay, he's not an Asgardian, but he's at least, I don't know, whatever. Maybe I'm overthinking
something about, that was, that's another part too, that I think he's just going to learn more and more about this, her intentions, what's going on here. Yeah. Obviously she's pissed off at something. She just blew up what's supposed to be the sacred timeline. And could it be that maybe the TVA destroyed her timeline?
See, now that's sympathetic writing. Remember that ginger girl from Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Ugh. She is already more compelling than her.
Look, and see, that's the thing. I will say, Marvel they're starting to get it with their villains. They've had issues with their villains in the past. They're starting to get it, right? Because I think I would argue Loki, Killmonger, Thanos, right? Those are the best MCU villains so far. And actually the Doctor Strange villain, right? But all of those guys were evil, and
even outside MCU, I would throw in Magneto. He's not MCU, but it's still Marvel,
right. But all of those guys, they had it was weird. You don't necessarily agree with their methods of getting to their goal. Yeah. But you somehow agree with their goal a little bit. Yeah. Right? And so it far more compelling. It made Killmonger far more compelling. It was like, okay, I don't agree with the method of let's use the technology, take out the world, but you
gotta stop the white man.
But he has some points, right? He has some points in that maybe the hiding thing isn't the correct thing to do anymore. And so I think with Loki and with Lady Loki and with some of the villains, even like Black Panther 2, Namor, right, is confirmed, right? He's another one too that I think they're going to kind of do, make him more of a sympathetic villain. Obviously, he's got intentions, but overall, he's a guy just trying to help his people. He's very faithful and loyal to his people, and so I think that's what's going to separate this phase of the MCU, right? Is we're going to start to get villains that we actually kind of care about, and so that would be interesting, right? If the TVA destroyed her timeline, destroyed her family or whatever, anybody she cared about or whatever, she figured out, right? She figured out she's now jumping the universes. She's hiding in apocalypses where she can cause whatever she does doesn't matter, she's. It would make it interesting, right? And it would also make it another point as to, these all-knowing,
watch my Jack attack.
Right, these all-knowing, all-good TVA timekeepers, right, are not as good as they say.
Gavin's throwing in Wilson Fisk
one
in
of the
there.
best villains.
He's one of the best villains. He's for sure. Okay, so one thing also tied in, we wondering why is she ambushing and killing the TVA. She hates her, but she got all those time grenades, and Loki wrongly assumes, you're going to blow us up and kill us all. That's your plan?
Nope.
And no, this is her plan. She drops them into different. I have no idea how they're going to solve this.
It's going to be, and look,
with the rules they've established, I don't know how they're going to solve this.
Look, they said, a while ago that this show would be Loki jumping around in the multiverse.
I'm just saying right now, is this the creation of the multiverse?
This is it.
Once it hits that red line, does that become another dimension?
This is it.
They're not reversing this. They're not saving this.
I had theories, right, that possibly WandaVision and Wanda's, what she did to that town would possibly cause this. That this would be that. My overall theory was that no matter what, this timeline, whatever the timeline that the MCU is in, was going to. I literally said it on the show I had before I joined you guys, right, several months ago when WandaVision started. I said this timeline is going to blow up. It's going to literally explode. At the time I thought it was Wanda was going to she was going to blow up the MCU timeline and cause the multiverse.
Yeah.
I was wrong, obviously, with WandaVision, but it seems I can transfer that theory over here to Loki, and say that I was right here. So, you know, that was the overall goal, right? They're going to blow up the MCU timeline, literally explode it, create the multiverse, and now we're going to have, you know, Loki's going to be jumping around, probably trying to fix it. I don't think this is going to be fixed by the end of the show. I don't. Remember, this show was supposed to start the MCU Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah.
So imagine if this was first, right? This would have been, holy crap, the first show, right off the bat.
I think this worked out better because the first 2 shows were underwhelming. This one is not on. There's 2 episodes, and I feel I want more, but I'm satiated.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm hungry, but I'm filled. Oh, one last thing. I forgot to bring this up. They find this girl who kind of looks a little bit like she gave away where the timekeepers are.
Right.
So I wonder, is that where she's headed? Who knows? And let's get to the last shot. We're going to wrap this up, and we're going to have TY's Corner, and then we're going to have the trial of Amber Heard.
Well, real quick, let me wrap up.
Yeah, go ahead. Do your thing, Colleen Wing.
But so anyways, I think this is going to basically lead into, right, this is not going to all be wrapped up here. Obviously, we know Kang the Conqueror is probably going to be the villain of phase 4, so we might get appearance or mention here. But this is what leads into Spider-Man No Way Home. This is what leads into all of the, you know,
multiverse.
I think Eternals will probably even
Eternals. Okay, all right.
And then you ever thought Multiverse of Madness was going to be basically this, and I think Multiverse of Madness is Doctor Strange going around fixing the multiverse.
Yeah.
Trying to put it back together, and his conflict there is he's got all-powerful Wanda Maximoff coursing throughout the multiverse searching for her kids.
Okay.
And so that makes for a good inner conflict too.
So
right?
does that mean that the kids that she had, aren't fake? They're actually real in some.
Oh yeah. She pulled them from another. She literally pulled them, and that's another thing, right? Because technically WandaVision was supposed to happen in the sacred timeline. Those kids weren't like from branches or anything because the sacred timeline was straight. Mm-hmm. There were no branches technically. Those kids were literally from another universe. She somehow powerfully pulled them, and you notice too in that show, she doesn't say "I love you, kids." She goes, "Thank you for choosing me to be your mom." There's some things there that obviously we're hinting at. This is not, they're not even in this MCU world. I think even though, right, they played it off as a joke, even the whole Ralph Bohner, Quicksilver casting was another thing to kind of hint at, we're not going to show you here, but good. You're already getting ready and preparing yourselves to see somebody from another universe.
Yeah.
That has a literal another universe that has no connection to this. So
I always get happy when I see this kid. Sorry. I always get happy when I see this kid.
We love Billy. But yeah, so while it's a joke, and I still hated it, I'm still mad, right? Still, everybody until that last episode was speculating and preparing. Oh, they're gonna introduce the Fox universe, the other different universe, right? So that's the thing. TVA seems like a crappy organization. Like, how do you let a variant steal that many charges, right? Yeah, they're not exactly the best. But again,
they're like they kind of remind me of like city-run government. Like I'm in Philly, and like it's awful.
That's the interesting thing about Loki, right? And I love that they pointed out. They literally said he figured out the breach in our security. Yeah. How did we miss this? And
because they're not smart. Remember, he says you're gullible like Asgard is.
Because you're like God. Yeah, you're like you want power. That's all.
All right, guys. We're gonna have TY's coming up in 1 second, and then we're gonna have the trial of Amber Heard.
Oh boy.
You want to stick around for that because you will be engaged. And the Honorable Jivin Judge Jack. To me, this shot again shows how good of an actor he is. This is one of the final shots.
Yes.
The obvious answer is, he's like, I can escape. But look at his eyes. He doesn't want to run away. You have Mobius chasing him.
But he knows, too, that thing's going to close. The only way that he's going to stop her is to go after her.
Yeah. So I think this was a heroic moment.
She was ready to, she's peace out.
Yeah. But I think this was his heroic moment. It's not that he's trying to escape, but look at his eyes, look at his expression. It's like, I'm sorry, but I got to go after her. And he leaves.
Right.
And the way Mobius is like, wait, Loki, no. Like, I think Mobius likes him. And he likes him. He genuinely likes him because he said to him earlier, hey, there might be two reasons. One, I'm using you, or two, I actually care for lost causes, which is then confirmed by Ravenslayer or whatever her name is, Ravonna. But listen, I really, really, really am enjoying this show. I had low expectations after WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier. Again, I enjoyed those shows in the same way that like I enjoy a crappy cheeseburger when I'm hungry. I'm like, sure, I'm not hungry anymore. But this show is on another level. It's another thing. I have had an absolute pleasure watching it. I love that I love that I'm excited for the next episode, and I also have no effing clue what's going to happen in the next episode.
Right. Yeah, you still don't know, but we can still theorize. Yeah, I mean, it's wild, man. I love it as well. I think it's definitely what the MCU needed.
It's what we needed. Every Wednesday, we do a live watch party.
Yes.
Or every Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So just use your iPhones to figure out when that is, depending on what time zone you are in. We do live watch parties of Loki. We encourage you to join us, especially our friends across the globe. I think 30% of our audience is international. We have people in India, people in the UK watching. So for them, that might be more convenient. Please watch it. Thank you for joining us. We are not done yet. All right, folks. So at this moment, we have a T-Wise Corner, the show I used to host for like a week.
That's right.
But we have a T-Wise Corner ready for you. And I think it'll be interesting. So when Ty said we have scoops, we're not talking that we went on Google and looked up scoops.
We officially have this is a pop culture corner exclusive, culture corner scoop exclusive. Some stuff from last night. So guys, if you're a Last of Us fan, this is for you.
Yeah, this is for you. So guys, we have a exclusive this is TY Sources. It's TY's Corner. So check it out. You're here for our very first exclusive.
That's right.
Let's take it real soon. You know we got what you need, baby. So take it, move along.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Pop Culture Update. Tonight, we have some casting updates for The Last of Us coming to HBO Max. Now, this is based on a video game, correct?
Yes. This is based on a PlayStation exclusive, The Last of Us, made by Sony. And it's going to be an HBO Max series.
Awesome. My name's Ty. This is Austin, and we're here to give you some exclusive Pop Culture Corner news. As with everything that doesn't come straight from the studio, obviously, take it with a grain of salt, and potential spoilers are, in the works. So if you don't want to have anything ruined for you, maybe this video is not for you. But if it is for you, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if it's your first time here, and share the show so your friends, family, and enemies can watch along with you. Consider becoming a member of the Pop Culture Corner and gain access to tons of exclusives, including behind-the-scenes footage, early access to podcasts, and I don't know, anything else I can kind of think of. So with that being said, now we do have some characters here, and basically what the studios are looking for and when the dates they'll be shooting are, sometimes it even adds how many episodes that they'll be recurring for.
Correct.
So why don't we start it off, Austin, with the first one?
Awesome. Yeah. Well, right here we have start off is Tess is a reoccurring female, ages 40 to 49. Any ethnicity. She's independent. a survivor, and has seen and done some bad things, but isn't cynical and has some guilt. She loves Joel, who's the main character, played by Pedro Pascal, and knows he doesn't reciprocate all of the love that, she has. But her filming dates would be in August 10th to November 10th for 3 episodes in a reoccurring role. And that makes sense. She does have kind of a minor role, but she is a big part in the games. So that makes sense that she would probably not be in the whole series or season.
Perfect. Next up, we have Sarah. Not a lot here, but a female under or, right in the beginning of the 20s. Joel's daughter, 18 to 20, I think it would be. And then it is a recurring role. It doesn't specify exactly how many episodes, but is she a big part of, she's the daughter, so I would assume that she's a big part.
Well, she's actually not a big part, as I guess potential spoilers, as we mentioned earlier. In the game, she does pass away. It's kind of a catalyst for Joel and Pedro.
So that's why there's no recurring.
She's a one episoder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, that's
sorry, Sarah.
Sorry. Sorry. She gets the boot.
All right. Good to know. Right. And then
next up we have David. David is a male, 35 to 59, white or Caucasian, very thin, a charismatic leader of a religious group, and he's set for 1 episode, February 3rd to March 3rd, March 3rd, 2022. Say that again. February 3rd to March 3rd, 2022. He's also one of the main antagonists in the video game. He's the leader of a group of cannibals that Ellie runs into at the lakeside resort. He's very skinny. He's very eccentric. As we find out, he's a cult leader of cannibals. Again, another interesting though. That's a 1 episode. In the game he has a bit of a bigger role. The show he won't.
It sounds like you don't want to run into David.
You don't want to run into David because he's manipulative as well. He kind of tricks Ellie, so it's
Okay. Next up, we have Bill, a guest star male in the 50s range. Bill is masculine, someone who lived in a bunker and had been closeted most of his life. He is now living as a gay man with Frank, although by just looking and observing, you would never suspect that he's gay. 1 episode from September 15th, 2021 to October. It doesn't specify when in October, but somewhere into October. So do you know who Bill is?
So Bill is apparently also a big part of the game as well. He's kind of like a friend to Joel and helps lead here. I have it right here. I'll start over. Okay, yeah. So he's another main character of the game. He is the leader of a small town. He kind of helps Joel in his adventures and journeys along the way. But he does have a falling out with his partner, who we later find out, Frank. So right now it says he's living with a gay man. That is Frank, but in the games they fall out. So something's going to happen there probably. Okay.
Well, speaking of Frank.
Right. Speaking of Frank is another person they're looking for. Frank, guest star, male, 40 to 49. The opposite of Bill. He is out and proud, comfortable in his own skin, and good looking with good hair. He'll be a silver fox later in life. So he's set for 1 episode as well, same as Bill, September 15th through October 13th, 2021.
Okay, so maybe I missed it. So they're probably filming both their thing together. So I would assume that both of them are September 15th through October 13th. That was my bad.
Correct.
But yeah, so have you played a lot of this game? What's going on here? Because it looks like they've changed a couple things, but maybe they're taking the story and stretching it a little bit.
Right. Yeah, it seems that's probably what they're going to do because while there's probably a good 30 hours, 40 hours of gameplay in those. You know, you got to think obviously for series and seasons and things like that. Yeah, it's going to be expanded.
Right.
But I haven't played too much of them. I've played them on my friend's PlayStation and little things. It's a zombie game as well. So I like it. I like the idea and the concepts of it. And from what I've heard about it, obviously, it sounds like this show is going to be really taking from the first game, not the second one, which recently came out last year, was not very well received. So that may be another reason too that they'll be able to expand the story outside of that second game, because fans were not very happy with the story of that second game.
Okay, I did not know that. I thought they were both pretty loved.
It's interesting. It was one of those things where it was kind of split in half with critics, but it was the fans were pretty much on the same as they didn't like it. Yeah.
Okay. So. Interesting. Well, guys, let us know in the comments. Are you excited for this HBO Max adaptation of The Last of Us? Because as we know, outside of Netflix, no one's really been able to get that game adaptation down pat. No one.
It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to get down, and we'll see if HBO will be the ones to HBO and Pedro Pascal, man.
Yeah, we know that with Mortal Kombat that just came out, people were divided. Some people did have a good time. I myself included. I had a good time watching the movie, but was it absolutely a pure adaptation? No. They added characters and they took other characters out. So I'm assuming that this is going to be no exception and that they're going to tinker with the story. So if you're going into this expecting that it's the video game just in a live action, you're going to get your hopes up and you're going to get let down. So go into it with an open mind, guys. And I'm sure that the show will do some justices to your fan service moments. That'll be that's about it for us today, guys. Make sure to like this video, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel if it's your first time, and again, consider becoming a member of the channel. We'd love to add you to the family. All right, Austin.
Hey, we do it for you, and we do it for the culture.
Woo!
Honey, let's take it real soon. You know we got what you need, baby, so take it, move along.
Well, hello there.
Hello there. Wow, that was a great video, by the way. Folks, if you missed it, rewind it, check it out. Our very first scoops. Look, I just want to touch on it briefly. We have the trial of Amber Heard coming up, but I just want to touch. I'm really excited about this. I just pulled up some of these things. I can't wait to see these two in live action.
Now you're a PlayStation guy, so you've played.
I love The Last of Us, right? And even though I was unhappy with the way The Last of Us 2 played out, I have to admit that part of me has been yearning to go back and play it. But I just want to say it's interesting that they're going to have Tess in it because she is important, like the first act of the game. Right. She's a very important character, and I won't say what happens, and I don't know if it plays out the same in the thing, but
it seems like they're going pretty much the direction of the story of the first game.
Yeah, I mean, you have Sarah in here. I mean, she was that opening sequence in The Last of Us is just so effing heartbreaking. And this guy, I'm sorry, I wish I had better quality pictures, but that's David.
Oh, so he's
someone you trust. He's someone you trust at first because you
he kind of manipulates Ellie, right?
Yeah, I mean, he trusts her. He runs cannibals, and of course, then there's Bill, who seems untrustworthy, but actually ends up being a pretty cool character. I'm surprised they didn't just go with the actor who voiced him because he kind of looks like him in the game.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll see. These are casting. I'm sure actually some of them might already be in the works of being cast. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, Caden, what's up, dude? Good to see you.
Caden is here just in time. Caden's a big Amber Heard fan. We're doing the trial of Amber Heard, and it should be fun. We have defense, prosecution, and of course the judge. And so to give you background before we get into the actual trial, why we decided to talk about this, why we decided to do this, last week, or was it almost 2 weeks ago, they came out with, it was last week, right? The title of Aquaman 2. What is it? The Lost Kingdom?
The Lost Kingdom. The Lost Kingdom.
So I pulled up a sample tweet. This started trending out, stuff like this.
No.
I, as well as everyone know and have spoke to, will not be watching Aquaman 2 if Amber Heard is a part of the project. We are fans, but we will not support an abuser. This was kind of trending. So
right.
we at Pop Culture Corner decided that
Put her
we
on
are
trial.
going to hold a trial. Put her on trial. We're going to be fair. And Jivin Judge Jack is kind of fair. Biased, but fair.
Kind of fair.
Biased, but fair. So let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our very first episode of Jivin Judge Jack. Hear ye, hear ye. Court is now in session. Everyone, please stand for his honorable Judge Jivin Jack. No talking, no laughing, no jokes. Please be seated. Court is now in session. I am also the bailiff. There we go. I want to thank both the prosecution and the defense for being here. This is the people, the nerds, the geeks, the wimps, the simps versus Amber Heard. Will both of you gentlemen raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
For the most part.
For the most part. Well, I just want to say right off the bat that I believe that this is an innocent woman who is being accused, and she will be found innocent, just like OJ and Casey Anthony.
How is the judge saying that right off the bat?
Well, this is one of those TV courts where there are really no rules.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an immediate bias.
Sir, I will put you in contempt. But
Okay.
before we get into this, I believe we have a timeline of events. The question is, should Amber Heard be removed from the DCEU for her alleged abuse? And the real question is, if you get beaten up by a girl, isn't that kind of your fault? But Mr. Austin,
Yes,
I
sir.
will ignore the fact that you're wearing a cap in my courtroom.
Yes,
If you're
sir.
wearing if you're wearing a cowboy hat, I would accept it because I'm both the judge and the sheriff. Sir, I believe you have a timeline of events. Would you please read them out for the court right now?
I do. I do have a timeline, sir. Timeline starts with Mr. Depp and Mrs. Heard beginning to date by early 2012. Herb at that time splits up with her then partner, Tessa Van Ree, and at the same time, USA Today reports that Heard is arrested in 2009 on a charge of physically assaulting her then girlfriend, Van Ree, at a Seattle-Tacoma International Airport in Washington. Therefore, obviously stating that that Mrs. Heard is a violent, vicious, quote unquote, to use her words, monster.
Wow. So you're saying that her previous partner, who was a woman,
Yes,
accused her of assault. Is that
that's right.
correct,
I'm not
sir?
just saying she was accused, Your Honor. I'm saying she was arrested in 2009. She has actually had this charge, and I think right there, Your Honor, proves that she's not the sweet America's sweetheart that she would like us all to believe that she is.
I see. Well, from what I understand, and I might be wrong, and now I'm switching to a Southern accent for no reason at all, I believe those charges were later dropped. Do you deny that, counselor? Do you deny that those charges were dropped?
If they were dropped, Your Honor, I humbly think that they should not have, and disagree with that. But they may or may not. Okay, they were dropped. They were dropped. Yes, Your Honor.
They were dropped. All right. And then continue, my friend. Mr. Depp and Heard were dating in 2012. What happens next, counselor?
Well, after that, in 2014, Mrs. Heard is spotted wearing an engagement ring, and in 2015, Depp and Heard are married in a private ceremony. And yes.
To clarify, I just want to clarify for the record, where did these two meet? They were filming a movie of some kind, weren't they?
I believe they were. They were filming a movie called The Rum Diary.
I see. You know what I see here? I see a strange man and a young woman. All right, okay, go ahead.
So what we have here then, on May 23rd, 2016, Heard filed for divorce from Depp and also obtained a temporary restraining order. She alleged that Depp had physically abused her during that relationship, usually while under the influence of drugs or alcohol. All false until proven at this point, by the way. And also, she alleged that at the time of filing for divorce, Depp threw his phone at her, leaving her with a bruised face.
I see. Do you have any proof that there was no bruise, Mr. Austin?
I do not, but I think
Mr. Austin,
she tends to exaggerate things, I think, as we can all see here.
You know what I see, Mr. Austin? I see a straight white male trying to take down a powerful woman, and you just don't like it. Just like you had a problem with this woman. Is it not true that 2 days ago we were going to have a conversation about strong women, and you denied that on this show? Mr. Austin, do you not have a proclivity against strong women?
I absolutely love strong women, Your Honor. I would like to say that I just thought at the moment, with the timing of the chat engagement, that perhaps a conversation on video games would. Your Honor, what does this have to do with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard?
I just want to say, Mr. Austin, that I think that you hate women. That's all.
This is untrue.
I will hold you in contempt. Go ahead. I will allow you to speak.
Well, basically, after all of this, the police come after Depp is alleged to throw his phone and leave a bruise on Amber's face, and they find that there's no crime has taken place. Depp attempting to secure a premature financial resolution by alleging abuse. Then a $7 million settlement was reached out of court on August 16th, 2016. So that from May to August, they were divorced.
So to clarify that, this is after the fact, right? A settlement is reached between Depp and Heard for $7 million?
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
I did not know that.
Correct, yes. In August 16th, 2016, Heard testified under oath at that deposition, but a settlement was eventually reached after she withdrew her request for a domestic violence restraining order. Which, why would she do that if she was not telling the truth, Your Honor? Moving on, they released in a joint statement saying that our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain, and there was never any intent of physical or emotional harm. It was a joint statement from the both of them, and also after that, Heard received $7 million from the divorce, but donated it to the charity, which then brings us to why we're here, Your Honor.
Yes.
During that settlement, a non-disparagement agreement clause was inserted into the settlement that prevented either party from saying anything negative about the high-profile relationship and breakup. But, Your Honor, in December of 2018, Mrs. Heard denied and broke that clause when she wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post accusing Mr. Depp of being a monster and violent, and talking about their domestic abuse. The suit said that Heard is so in return, Depp sued Heard for $50 million for defamation over the Washington Post article. The suit said that Heard is not a victim of domestic abuse; she's a perpetrator, and denied Depp ever abused her. Instead, the suit said that Heard's allegations were part of an elaborate hoax to generate positive publicity. Depp's lawyer said the op-ed depended on the central premise that Miss Heard was a domestic abuse victim and that Mr. Depp perpetrated domestic violence against her. In a court filing that attempted to dismiss Depp's defamation suit, Heard detailed multiple instances of alleged abuse that she said occurred during their marriage. But then, per Variety, she claimed that she still had scars on her arms and feet from an incident where Depp allegedly threw her through a ping pong table and dragged her through broken glass. And then in 2020, phone recordings are released in which Heard admitted to hitting Depp. So who's the abuser now?
Wow. I have to say, Mr. Austin, that after hearing all this evidence, I wonder if maybe my proclivity towards Miss Amber Heard was wrong. But for now, I want to hear what the defense has to say. Mr. Roberts, are you ready with your statement?
Okay, so one second. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm not prepared for this.
I understand, Mr. Roberts. The thing is, you're defending an innocent woman, in my opinion, and you are a brave person for doing that. And thank you for dressing up for court.
Of course.
Unlike some other people.
I was going to say, I always dress for success. And, as you can tell by the prosecution here,
I just look cooler than you.
He just didn't do the job.
Yeah, Mr. Austin. See, I even put on a robe.
Yeah,
Do any of you guys have a popped collar? I think not.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I mean, I do have a gavel.
Oh,
somewhere.
There we go. There we go. But for those of you joining us, this is the trial of Amber Heard, and we're doing the prosecution and the defense. So far, we've heard from the prosecution, Mr. Austin, who is saying that Miss Amber Heard should be removed from the DCEU. Is that correct, Mr. Austin?
I believe she's the real villain in this case, Your Honor, not the innocent and always fun and imaginative Mr. Johnny Depp.
Mr. Johnny Depp. Well,
can you remind me where we left off on the prosecution's, because it's all laid out here. I just want to pick up right where we left off.
Sure. So I left off right where we're talking about the phone recordings that were released in which Heard admitted to hitting Depp.
All right.
Okay. So can you be a little bit more specific?
Yes. So basically in January, phone recordings obtained by the perfect.
I got it. So the next part is mine, right?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying if you wanted to give a rebuttal
defense.
so far.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Just a rebuttal of any kind.
Give a defense.
A rebuttal. So I have been a clear advocate for personal life. What happens in your personal life should not affect you in your workplace environment. Yes, we all have disputes between our partners. Maybe this one, and it hasn't been proven, without a shadow of a doubt up until this point. There have been rulings. There have been other things that have happened. However, no one has been deemed guilty or innocent in this case yet. And I do believe that Amber is innocent in this case. What I want to say is that in the current climate of Hollywood, it seems that your beliefs or the things that happen outside of your workplace, they're taking more. They're becoming more a part of you being canceled at your work, the way you make money, due to the fact of something that happens at home. I, for one, am very much against that. I do not think it's. I just don't think it is. I'm at a loss for words. I don't think that should play into a factor. As an actor, your job is to play a person that is not yourself. You are literally pretending to be someone who is not yourself. So why is it that I've had fights with my, my partner. However, I did not get, I did not get fired from my job due to those fights. And I do think it's a little bit crazy that we're even in this situation I feel like Johnny is running Amber's name through the mud so that he comes out as a diamond amongst the rough, because we all know that Johnny has had several problems with drugs, problems with alcohol, problems with all these sorts of substances, yet that isn't in play at this point. No one wants to bring it up. No one wants to talk about it, but
I would like to talk about it.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Austin.
Just a quick response to that.
For those of you just joining us, this is the trial of Amber Heard, and I'm the judge.
Yes, my client, Mr. Depp, as Mr. Roberts is well described, is a fan of, how do I say this, the lighter side of life, the more riskier, the more edgier side. But my client has also been with, and this is just simply stating fact here, has also been with many a women, and up until now, Mrs. Heard is the only one and the first one to accuse him of domestic violence, and even his past relationships have come out in support of Mr. Depp. I'd also like to state that if anybody here is getting their names dragged through the mud, it would be my client, Mr. Depp, who has now lost his job from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise over at Disney and has been vocal in not being able to find work, unlike Mrs. Heard, who is thriving in this, what you call DCEU.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you both a question right here. For those of you, again, joining us, this is the trial of Amber Heard. I am Judge Jivin Jack. If Johnny Depp, we had absolute proof, assaulted a woman, whether it's Amber Heard or not, do these companies have a right? I'm talking about actual assault. I'm not just saying being mean or grabbing. I'm talking about actual punching in the face or grabbing and bruising. Should he be removed from film? Would you agree?
No.
Okay.
If Johnny Depp punched Mrs. Heard in the face?
Or hurt her in any way?
Should he be removed from film?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Obviously, in defense of my client, he should. He's perfect, and he would never do that anyway. So your scenario is.
I'm sorry.
no.
I misheard the question. I would like to be retracted from the
from the record.
From the record here. I did.
Stenographer, remove that from the record, and the jury is not to pay attention to that.
Please. All we do know is that Amber has, she has photographic evidence of Johnny Depp so she has bruised pictures. Here we have a picture of him passed out on the floor. That is not how anyone falls asleep.
He's working late. It's very obvious.
There's oh God.
Let the defense speak, sir.
I have fallen asleep tired at all times. I do not fall asleep in a $100,000 suit, right? And I do not. There are other pictures which we have seen come to public light where Johnny has a glass of tall whiskey, right? No rocks, no nothing to water it down.
I think it's Coke, but continue.
Tall glass of whiskey. He has his drug box right next to that. And he is passed out with several lines of cocaine railed up on the table. So you're to tell me that if you were in a relationship with a certain someone like this, right? Just the pictures prove it. He is volatile. Drugs scientifically make you, and they alter your brain chemistry in a way where you become a different person. Yes, Johnny, I'm not saying Johnny, isn't a good person at heart, but the substance abuse has made him turn into someone different. The fame, the fortune, all of it. He has become a different person throughout his success. And he pretty much takes himself and brings him above the line of authority. So nothing matters to him because he won't be prosecuted or he won't be arrested or anything like that because he's Johnny Depp. He basically sees himself as above the law, so he can have an 8-ball of cocaine railed out on a table, a drug box, a fifth of whiskey poured into a glass, and he's passed out. Is that any relationship? Is that a relationship that you would want to be in? Or and all the evidence suggests that Amber is the victim here. She went into a relationship with a person who she thought actually loved him. But I know for a fact, and I have my own issues. I have people close to me with issues. When you are addicted to substances, you are an altered being, right? You become a different person when you're under the influence of drugs and alcohol. I'm not saying Johnny is a bad person. However, the drug and alcohol use have made him drugs often make you paranoid, very volatile. Alcohol makes you very, very aggressive. And, you know, there's all the evidence suggests that Johnny is the root of the problem. If he could maybe fix up, all the court here is recommending is that Johnny seek help.
There we go. Now, Mr. Austin, I'll let you reply to that, but I have a follow-up for you, Mr. Austin. So go ahead. Prosecution, what is your response to what the defense has said?
Well, first of all, I'd like to have everything that Mr. Roberts just said stricken from the record, as most of what he has stated.
I object.
Sir, Mr. Austin, you need to check your white privilege right now. I will not tolerate that in my court.
Hold on.
I object.
I would like to have
on what grounds? On what grounds?
I would like to have his statement stricken from the record
based
off of everything that he just said is not confirmed. We don't necessarily know. We don't know that glass was filled with whiskey. For all I know, it could have been this sort of sweet tea that I'm
just say this. Let me just say this. Any person who drinks on the job is not qualified.
Okay, so what,
Your Honor,
what is
Johnny
the
Depp
drug
is a
box?
method actor. He is a method actor, and he therefore, as you know, he plays a pirate who, as you all well know, is mostly intoxicated for
he has not
the entire
played that
franchise.
Character in a long time.
He plays that character for Disney children at hospitals and at
Mr. Roberts,
Disneyland.
let him make his point. Let us make his point.
Hold on. I object. So I'm sorry. He plays the character for kids in hospitals, but needs 32 lines of cocaine, a bottle of whiskey, and he's passed out.
That was salt.
That helps him get in the mood.
In Black Mass, the film in which he plays a gangster thug and a part of the mob. So I would just like to say that all of what was said is at this point it is it's not confirmed. It is it's all just speculation. So I'd like to have that statement stricken from the record on a basis of speculation.
Mr. Austin, go ahead and finish your point because I have a follow-up for you because you mentioned the word speculation. For those of you joining us, I am Jivin Judge Jack, and this is the trial of Amber Heard. Prosecution, go ahead.
Yes. So anyways, like I said, all of these things have very reasonable explanations behind them. Mr. Depp right there after, and look, we know as well, right? The phone calls have been released.
That's true.
Mrs. Heard is not the victim here. Mr. Depp was the one getting punched and beaten up by Mrs. Heard. Now, say what you will about a man being beat up by a woman or whatever you would like to say about that. But it happened. And was it right? No, it was not. Because Mr. Depp was vulnerable at the time. He was vulnerable, and he was preparing for roles. He's a method actor as well known. He recently did Black Mass. He's recently done films about the Tupac murders. Is that he is known to get into character. We don't know what was filled with those glasses. We don't know if that was perhaps just some salt or spices for him to prepare for his role in Black Mass. As far as I know, none of this is therefore confirmed, except the only thing that we know is confirmed is those phone calls in which Mrs. Heard absolutely just WWE style destroys Mr. Depp.
Let me ask you this.
A phone call cannot be... I can call anyone on the phone and say anything I want. And
that is true.
I can call.
Well, in this case, your client was giving herself up, Mr. Roberts, because she was talking about punching him.
Mr. Austin, I'm going to get to that point, but let me ask you something. You said something about Mr. Depp dating a lot of women beforehand,
yes,
and therefore implying that he's not guilty of any abuse.
Yes.
But you know what? Mr. O.J. Simpson dated a lot of women before he killed his wife. Does that now evidence every person that has committed any kind of crime until they
I think even if you look at OJ's history, he had a history of.
But anyway, my point is, like, you know, if Mr. Big Drip were to go and kill someone and the police came to me, I would say, well, I've known him. He ain't never done anything to nobody. Doesn't mean he never, just because he ain't done it before.
This is true. But when you have your exes coming out to court to testify in your defense, like Miss Winona Ryder, who did come out to court and testify in defense of Mr. Depp.
I just want to stop that right here. Miss Winona Ryder, for the court records, has been charged and found guilty of kleptomania. In the early 2000s, it was found that she was stealing things. Sir, if that is your witness, I don't know what I can say about that if your witness is a thief.
You know what my witness is? My witness is the $7 million from the divorce, which Amber donated to charity. If she was in this for the money, she would have kept the money. No, she donated it to charity. It's not about making money for herself. It's about seeing or the court and the people seeing the truth. The money doesn't mean anything to her. It's about exposing a person who has long been a problem in the acting world. People, there were producers and directors on set of Pirates of the Caribbean who couldn't tell if Johnny was sober or not. He has a long track record of being very, very, very obscure and very volatile on sets, right? People can't tell if he had been drinking. And I know the character
method acting.
Tradition method acting is one thing. It is one thing, right? But people on set were actually scared because they
were
didn't
terrified
know
because he
Johnny,
was supposed to be a mafia member. He was bad. He was supposed to.
I'm talking about Pirates of the Caribbean.
He was also a pirate. Are you not supposed to be afraid of a pirate?
A Disney movie. They couldn't tell if he was sober or not because he was stumbling around and he smelled. Several witnesses, several people around Johnny smelled liquor coming from his breath. This is a man, and listen, again, all things aside, this is a man who needs drug rehabilitation. That's what the defense and the prosecution. I would like to come to a deal that, or at least the money's one thing, but we want to see Johnny get help. We want to see Johnny get help.
Do you, Mr. Roberts? Because the prosecution has found some fresh evidence that Mrs. Heard may not have donated that $7 million that she talks about to charity.
Tarnation.
Can it be proven?
Go ahead, Mr.
You
Austin.
said what were your words exactly?
And can those bruises be proven that those were Depp's?
I'm sorry, what?
Can those
Mr. Austin,
are you suggesting on Amber Heard's arm
that Amber Heard did this to herself?
The same thing. Yes, I am. I am suggesting that Amber Heard pulled a liar, went into the bathroom, closed the door, and proceeded to beat the crap out of herself.
Okay.
Oh my, those are mighty strong words.
Listen, if the court will allow me to say something.
Yes, go ahead.
I am a recovering alcoholic myself.
Oh my.
Okay. I understand the ins and outs of sobriety. I understand the ins and outs of what it is to be addicted to drugs and alcohol, right? It's not something that I tote around because I've been sober for a long time. When you use drugs and alcohol, they become the only thing that matters, right? You stop caring for the people closest to you. You only think about getting the next one. And a person of Johnny's caliber doesn't have to worry about money. He doesn't have to worry about any of that. He is on the top of the world as far as it comes to name recognition. He doesn't have these problems.
Mr. Prosecutor, I want to submit into evidence this piece of testimony here by Matt Zeppelin. Since you have honestly admitted your troubles, his alcoholism has obviously gotten worse. So what his behavior? In your expert opinion, can alcoholism get worse and worse? So let's say 10 years ago during Pirates of the Caribbean, he was one person, but today with Amber Heard, he's someone else. Is that possible?
That is 100% possible, because the progression of alcoholism, it doesn't just start and the next day it's, it doesn't just start. It's a progressive disease that the more and more you partake, the worse and worse and worse it gets till you hit rock bottom. I think that Johnny has hit rock bottom a long time ago. And, he likes to surround himself with pretty women. A lot of women have come out and said that he was a good person. However, we can't exactly pinpoint when the progression started, but I have a feeling that after he was let go by Disney, the progression really kicked in, because he has wasted a lot of money. He has lost a lot of money in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and then the Fantastic Beasts franchise were his claims to fame for a while, and now that's all gone, right? So the a picture being broken, right? You have no job, you have no nothing, and you have all this money in the bank, and you're basically, you've given up. Yeah, you have Amber, and she's a very beautiful woman, yada yada. But I promise you, Amber, no matter how sweet or whatever she is, Johnny did not care, because the drugs came first. As you can see in many of these
allow
pictures.
Mr. Austin to retort. I think, Mr. Roberts, you have made your point very finely.
Go
ahead, Mr. Austin.
If anybody is hurt here, if anybody's taking damage, and Mr. Roberts actually just did a great job of proving that point, it's Mr. Depp. Mr. Depp is the one that has lost his jobs. He's the one that does not have any money, because he continues to try to protect his name. Obviously, if this were somebody that did not care about, or that did these things that he was alleged of doing, he would not be throwing money that he now doesn't even have to continue to try to clear his name. I don't believe that Mr. Depp did or is capable of doing the things that Mrs. Heard has accused of him. And I think Mrs. Heard has taken this entire situation and made it as a boost for her career. And obviously you can look, she's doing just fine and well and dandy in the DCU, while Mr. Depp has now lost his 2 franchises, most of his money, and is no longer wanted to be hired by the industry because of things that she claims are untrue.
Mr. Austin, I want to ask you real quick. And this is going to get into some hot button. For those of us joining us, welcome to Jivin with Jack, produced by Pop Culture Corner. This segment is called Jivin with Judge Jack, and we are putting Amber Heard on trial. Mr. Austin Lean at the bottom is with the prosecution. Mr. Tyler Roberts is with the defense, and we want you to engage with us right now. You guys are the jury. Is Amber Heard guilty? Should she be removed from the DC Cinematic Extended Universe? As we know, she is in AquaMan 2 alongside Jason Momoa, despite many allegations of abuse. Let me ask you this, Mr. Austin, and maybe this is going to sound like an old school question, and this may be because I'm an old school guy. I have been in many arguments with women, and sometimes they start hitting you. But at no point, and women can hit hard. Let me say that. Gee, daggone it, they can hit hard. But if a woman hits you, in my opinion, you may call me old-fashioned and say, Jack, you're from another time. But if a woman hits you, that's all right. In that phone call, she says to him, you're being a baby. And me as an old school guy, I'm like, yeah, Johnny, you're being a baby. A girl hit you. Get over it.
Your Honor,
people in the comments. I'm not saying if she took out a knife and stabbed him, that's right. But I'm saying that if she punched you or threw something at you, you know, as a man, you got to be a man. Now, that is not my support of the patriarchy or any kind of violence. But I'm saying that sometimes, come on, a girl can hit you and you just got to take it. But that don't give you the right to hit her back.
Your Honor, my personal belief on whether a man getting hit by a girl or beaten up by a girl is right or wrong has nothing to do with this case or not. All that matters in this case is the fact that she was the one that physically hit Mr. Depp. She was the one that physically tried to hurt Mr. Depp. She was the one in which she was accusing Mr. Depp of doing these things. It is now on this phone recording that she is the one. So again, my opinion of how Mr. Depp feels about it or how Mrs. Heard feels about it does not matter. What I am here to do is present the facts of Mr. Depp's case and try to help reinstate some of the good reputation, as that's all Mr. Depp wants here. All Mr. Depp is looking for is for Mrs. Heard to admit that she lied and for his name to have some of the good reputation that it once had. Because right now, she is the one who would be dragging it through the glass.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Austin. If I, as judge, were to say that, all right, maybe both of them did wrong, but let her be an AquaMan and the DCEU and let him do Fantastic Beasts. And this kind
we would be happy with that, Your Honor. We would be happy with that.
You'll be happy with that. For those of you joining us, is the trial of Amber Heard, and it ain't over just yet. We're probably going to be talking about this for a long time. But again, going back to my point, let's say we had unequivocal proof. This Miss Heard hit Johnny Depp, threw stuff at him, punched him, kicked him in the balls. What I'm saying is that as a man, shouldn't he kind of just let it roll off? But on the other hand, if he were to hit her, I would say, sir, you have done wrong and you have every right to be canceled. Mr. Defense, what do you think about that? I know it's an old school notion, but if a girl hits you, my sister once threw something at me once, and I didn't call the police. I'm like, you know what? She's a girl. She got angry. She threw something at me. I got to be a man about it. Maybe this is old school thinking, but
it is pretty old school thinking. However, you know, I think that's a topic for a different. I don't think it's necessarily relevant here.
Not relevant to this, Your Honor.
Yeah, in the sense that
relevance is up to me. I'm just saying that if you got beat up by her, then you know.
Right. But here, here we have Heard. Meanwhile, accused Depp of physically abusing her, and has also accused him of throwing a phone at her, which is the picture we saw with the bruise on the face. Right.
That's right.
And furthermore, she said that Depp threatened her on several occasions. On November 2nd, the court ruled against Depp in the liberal trial. Why would they rule against Johnny Depp? And so why would they rule against Johnny? Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? What was their conclusion? Why would they come to that conclusion if they haven't already gone over everything that we've gone over and presented the facts, presented what each side of the story was, and came to that conclusion?
Mr. Austin, do you have a retort to that? Why do you think the UK government
well, as we all know,
Johnny?
This was, first of all, this was reported by The Sun.
Agree.
Sun, which is known as a very famous UK tabloid. So I believe there's already a UK bias, of course, to their own paper. The UK does not have laws like we do. It is not.
But
you are not innocent until proven guilty. You are guilty until proven innocent over there. So Depp is already against and that's why he continues to try to get cases over there reamped, because he knows he's right and he's willing to spend the money and do the things and take the risks even on his name to prove it.
Our last point, Mr. Roberts.
But Judge Mr. Justice Nicol ruled that the Sun was correct in reporting that Depp was violent towards his ex-wife Amber. So regardless of being a tabloid news article, the judge in the case also came
violent
out and
can mean many things. Violent does not necessarily mean physical violence. Yelling can be a form of violence. That in court is a form of violence. Okay. Raising your voice or a screaming match can be a form of violence. Not necessarily. That can mean a lot of things. What Mr. Depp is going against and what he's vehemently disagreeing, the Sun reported, was that he is a wife beater.
I was just going to get to that. So in reaching his ruling, Nicol referred to 14 separate instances that the Sun's lawyers cited to justifying calling Depp a wife beater.
Again, are you suggesting that maybe the Sun has a bias towards?
I would say, just like this case, Your Honor, that the court has a bias towards the Sun in the UK, and it's pretty obvious there that because Depp has obviously presented his evidence, he's brought in his witnesses, and the court seems to completely dismiss
his witnesses are ex-girlfriends that he could have coerced into saying these things.
That would be that's a pretty far assumption, but
that is not
sure.
that is not a far assumption.
A man with no money and a bad reputation in the Me Too movement coerced women to defend him in court. We'll go with that.
Johnny Depp was at one point an A-list actor, and
so was Kevin Spacey.
But this is a completely
that's another trial. I can't wait for the trial of Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, that was a completely
different
thing.
Let me bring it to a close right here. I'm going to let the prosecution give a closing statement, and then I'm going to let the defense give a closing statement, and then we'll bring this to a conclusion and get back to Jamming with Jack.
Okay.
So, Mr. Austin, you have presented a very, very compelling case. I want to hear what you have to say as a closing statement. This trial ain't over just yet. The judge cannot come to a decision today.
Closing statements, Your Honor. In final, I would like to say that Mr. Depp here is the real victim. Mrs. Heard has used this whole trial as a publicity stunt to boost her career, which, let's be honest, until this trial was not that great. It was not that big. Or, even she had her moments, but nowhere near where she is now, and the popularity that she has now. And at the end of the day, Mr. Depp is the one who's lost 2 franchises, lost hundreds of millions of dollars, had his name ran through the mud, is no longer hireable in Hollywood. And I think it's pretty obvious here that Mrs. Heard has used this to just absolutely destroy his career. And not only that, go against the clause in their divorce suit and just flat out defamation right there.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Austin, for your time. Even though I'm on Amber's side and I am unbiased, I think you have made an interesting case. this case is to continue. However, the defense, Mr. Roberts, go ahead. Your final statements for today.
Drugs and alcohol can be very, very toxic, right? They can be very.
I agree.
They can alter. I mean, down to the science, they alter your brain chemistry. Yes, Johnny Depp may not be the person that he is when he is not taking these drugs, and I'm sure there were glimmering hopes or glimmering signs of a relationship when they, when those things weren't being used by Johnny. I'm not saying Johnny is, the devil or anything like that. I just think that when he uses these substances, he is changed into a different person. This different person has no boundaries. He has no care in the world. And he thinks he's on top of the world. We've seen this time and time and time again with actors and people in Hollywood who, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on, right? Of people who feel that they're above the law, people that feel that they can do what they want because they will not be prosecuted. It takes one voice to stand up and say, no, this is wrong. And I do believe that Amber is that voice. Amber is saying, listen, Johnny Depp is an idol for children, yet he is hurting women emotionally, physically. He's a drug addict. He needs help. And he is the furthest thing from he's the furthest thing from what we see him in the films, right? The furthest thing. He's narcissistic. He is an addict. He does things that are very, very dangerous in the sense of mixing cocaine and alcohol. He is very, very volatile in everything. I personally would not want to be around him when he is ingesting these drugs, because I know that the Johnny Depp that I grew up envying, that's not the person. I think the relationship when it started was pure, but with all addicts, they become complacent. They become complacent. They think that they've beaten the disease. They go back to that disease. Each run of using drugs gets shorter and shorter and shorter. And now we have these pictures of him falling all over the floor. Drug boxes on the table, whatever you want to call it, whiskey, whatever, on the table. We lines of coke spread out. This man is not just a danger to himself, but he is a danger to society.
Indeed. Gentlemen, this case at the moment is not solved, and I think we're probably going to be talking about it for a long time. However, we have a new person in the comment who said something that I thought was interesting. That will be my quote for this. To be honest, I don't care about the actor or personal stuff about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. They both crazy people. But at the end of the day, they gave me a great performance, and that's it. So as of right now, I have not come to a conclusion about this. I still would say that if Amber Heard wanted to beat me up, I would get in line right now. But for now, Mr. Prosecutor, Mr. Defense, I would like to thank you for being here. I'm sure this will be a conversation that we are not going to forget, and we're not done with it yet. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this edition of Jivin with Judge Jack. And I'm back. Here we go. Okay, so Austin, so for those of you watching, Austin, you didn't like that, but I thought that was effing fun. I had a lot of fun with that. I thought both of you killed it. Guys, tell them they killed it. Let me take this damn thing off.
Yeah, I had a fun time. No hard feelings, by the way, obviously.
Billy, it's not true.
I actually so folks, that was the first time we did this, and look, I know that was kind of weird because we never tried anything like that before, but I genuinely had fun because both of you made points that I would not have thought of.
Yeah, next
time I
time
read the case and all that crap and all that stuff.
I
thought that I actually had a lot of fun, and then someone in the comment section said, "Oh, Austin's defending a woman beater."
Yeah, that's my friend Billy. He knows.
That was a skit.
Yeah.
And
next time I'm gonna come in with like opening arguments and closing arguments.
Know if actually beach women or not, I don't know.
Yeah, next time I'm gonna come in with like my own set of facts and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I'm gonna be way more prepared, bro.
Oh yeah. No. I wanted to be more improv. So for the first part, when Austin was, I still do that goddamn Southern accent. I don't know where that came from, but at some point, you ever see that episode of Friends where Ross first starts teaching, he starts using a British accent? That's kind of what happened to me. I started going with a Southern accent. I don't know if it was the cowboy hat, but when Austin was going through the timeline events after that, when you guys were making your cases, I think, look, the comment section. I know not too many people are watching today. It's a slow day, but I heard diverging opinions. I think, Austin, you converted some people. I think, Ty, you converted people. And someone mentioned Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
I think that could be a potential trial. I think that could be sticky, no pun intended. And Ty, maybe even Gina Carano.
Yeah, I'm in on that one.
All right. So let me ask you this, boys. There's one more topic I want to talk about. And Ty, I would like to keep you around for it. Are you guys good? Austin?
Yeah.
My co-host. Are you guys good? All right, guys. It's a slow day, but we're still here. If you're Prakash or someone who's not watching live, you can always catch us on repeat.
Prakash is asleep right now, so that is.
He is asleep right now, folks. We have one more segment left for you, and it's a tricky one. We're going to talk about it without actually talking about it. All right, so I wanted to talk about Jon Stewart. Where's Jon Stewart? Right here. This is Jon Stewart. Oh, no! Whoops. Sorry. Oh, my bad. Louise. Okay, so we are going to have to be careful about this. Oh, that's Jon Stewart. Oh, no. That was
God.
I'm going to call him Fat Justice from now on. All right, so, guys, this is kind of pop culture related, and we're going to have to be very careful about our language. And this is not me trying to be funny, but Jon Stewart was on Stephen Colbert on Monday night, and he just went out on a rant about I'm going to use the word contagion. Came from a city which we can't say, from a research lab we can't say, from a country we can't say. And Tyler, did you see this video at all?
I'm deep into this.
Okay. So here's the thing. Let's get into the history about this. We're talking about the contagion, the thing that's kept us locked out at home, and we can't use certain words because, unfortunately, even in a comedic sense, social media platforms will demonetize us and cut us off. So are you guys comfortable with being very vague about what we're talking about, including the country we can't name, the city we can't name, and the thing we can't name? Okay, so here's the problem. About a year ago, the last president, Donald Trump, said that this thing came from this place, and that's where it came from. And because the orange man said it, everyone's like, dude, shut up. It's a lie, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And unfortunately, truth now is predicated on your political beliefs. It should not be like that, but it is. Jon Stewart came on Stephen Colbert Monday night, and he just let loose. He said, hey, this came from a certain city, and in that certain city, they have a research facility that is dedicated to researching the contagion that everyone has been dealing with for over a year.
Yeah, gain of function.
We have, and with these Fauci emails, now we know that there is more going on. And I am disappointed. Look, I grew up watching Jon Stewart. I'm disappointed to see how the media has been treating Jon Stewart like he's a moon hoax guy or a flat earther or, like he's nuts. And I'm like, no. He said what I think a lot of people in the world and a lot of Americans, especially Americans, like we can only speak for Americans, have thought about. How the hell did this start? And you can clearly see Stephen Colbert feeling very uncomfortable. He's like laughing it off, like when your drunk uncle starts telling jokes. You're like, oh. But now this is pop culture related. I don't want to get into politics, but this guy on the left was an icon on Comedy Central. He gave birth to Stephen Colbert. But if you guys have been watching the headline news, they're treating Jon Stewart like he's got like he's got one of these on. If I can pull it out here. Here we go. It's like he's got one of these on. Give me your thoughts. I know it's hard to talk about. I know we got to be vague about it, but I think we have to talk about it. It is pop culture, and it kind of is politics. I don't care about the politics. I don't want to make this a referendum on Trump or Biden, but I will say this. You guys are young. You may not remember. If 9/11 happened and the U.S. government's like, we don't know how it happened, who did it, oh, well, and just left it at that. Don't you think there would be more of an uproar? TY, take it away.
I was 11, 12 years old, so I was very much there.
Okay, I'm sorry. You have good skin. You look younger than I thought.
Yeah, I was very cognizant of what was going on. And can you repeat the question?
So my question is, the media has been portraying Jon Stewart, who was a huge liberal. I'm a liberal. I don't know about you. I think we're all kind of on the left. Like he's some kind of crazy moon hoax, Earth is flat conspiracy theorist. And this guy is just saying that, hey, this thing came out of a city where they're researching this contagion in that city, but the media and everyone for the last 48 hours has been dumping on this guy. And I think there's something wrong with that. I'm not really asking a question. I just want your thoughts on that.
Because Fauci has been...
Let it loose.
Fauci has been very, 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 very contradictory, with the recent email dump. He's basically contradicting whether masks work. He's contradicting his involvement in the lab. He's contradicting whether face masks work. This, all that. And then he basically is talking about gain of function and how.
Can you explain that gain of function?
So gain of function is when you take a virus and you use what?
Contagion. Use the word contagion.
Okay, I'm sorry. And I'm supposed to be like the creator or something like that.
Sorry.
So when you take a contagion and you basically alter it to become stronger, that way you can learn how to defeat it, right?
Exactly.
And there's a lab in China,
the country we can't name.
In the country that we can't name.
That makes very good dumplings.
Fauci has direct involvement in said research. So he has basically been covering his butt this whole time. At first he said masks didn't work. And then he came out and said, oh, I was lying because I didn't want all the masks to be purchased. Now in private emails, he's saying, yes, the masks don't work. And then there's other conversations about gain of function and yada, yada. Basically, Fauci, in my mind, is playing both sides of it. And he doesn't want to get found out that he is directly responsible for what happened. Maybe not directly responsible, but he is very much tied to the lab that this may have come from. And that would be a very bad look for an individual like him, who most of the country looked towards for advice. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like last year we had a president who was not, I'm not saying all presidents are trustworthy, but that was one who was clearly not trustworthy. So Fauci kind of became sort of the figurehead, sort of like the pontiff of this movement. And I think now that it's winding down, California is opening. Austin, you live near California. It's opening up. We were talking about these yesterday. I kind of want to know where this came from. killed a lot of Americans. It killed a lot of Asians.
I don't think it's a question of where it came from. Everybody knows where it came from.
Whether
it's politically correct or not.
Yeah,
we know where it came from, flat out. I think the big thing here is, look, Jon Stewart's always been a person that, no matter what, he's I know you're saying he's getting dragged in the headlines, but I'll be honest, I see him getting dragged in the headlines a lot whenever he comes out and speaks, because it's not that much anymore. Yeah. But for me, I see him getting dragged in the headlines.
He's only 58. He's a young man. He's still young, relatively.
Even back when he was, because he's always been that liberal that would call out liberals when they're being stupid. Yeah. Like, flat out. You have a lot of these guys that just sit there, a lot of these types like him, Jon Stewart, like John Oliver, Bill Maher, and even those guys too. Bill Maher, he goes after liberals too, and it's like, it's this thing now, this PC thing, that it's like, even if you're a liberal, you can't say anything against the liberals. And so, I mean, for me, I don't think it's nothing new to see Jon Stewart, getting criticism from that side, because he always have, even though he is on that side. Yeah. I think really here the big thing is that like Ty said, was, we know Fauci was involved with the building in which Contagion originated.
Folks, we have to be very careful because of monetary reasons.
Right. And also too, right, I don't remember which president did this. It literally could have been Obama, Trump, or Biden. I cannot remember.
Are you talking about the research money that goes towards that place?
Right. One of them shut it down. Yeah. And then the next president brought it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't.
And I don't blame either president. I know who the two are. I'm not going to say, but like, this was, it came out of nowhere.
I think come on.
By the way, let me clarify. None of us are suggesting or trying to say this was done on purpose. We're just trying to say where it came from. Who knows? I don't know. But if this guy suggests that, hey, there's a lot of he used a analogy, and I remember it because I'm from Pennsylvania. He said, if there was an outbreak of chocolate in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and Hershey, Pennsylvania is where Hershey was created, and you're like, we don't know how the chocolate outbreak happened. Now, that does not necessarily mean it's because of Hershey, but there's too many factors around, I guess. And the problem is, and I said, is that the guy who first espoused this theory was Donald Trump. And unfortunately, when he, and that's the problem. If he had said the opposite, if he had said, no, this did not come from that place, everyone would be like, oh, it came from that place.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if anyone knows, but in 2019, 3 workers from that place were sent to the hospital with contagion-like
symptoms.
Yeah. And one of the guys' wife later died. There has been several scientists and people close to the research who have gone missing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
why people have been killed.
There's some definitely weird aspects to it, and some definite.
We need to hold these people responsible, right? Maybe maybe we don't arrest them or anything like that. It was, maybe it was a mistake, but we do need to investigate a little bit more, and we need to figure out why.
And I'm for that, Tyler. But
and if we're going to do this.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
If we're going to be doing this research, there needs to be some strict and heavy watch over it. If we're going to, if they are going to be doing this.
Also, the problem is that we may never know, because the people who would lead the investigation would have to be the people in that country, and it's never like they're going to be like, oh yeah, it accidentally got released.
Right.
it's sort of like you will never hear the U.S. admit they made a mistake. I'm not going to pretend it's like just them. Like we would never be like that. We'd be like, oh well, whatever. But I think the problem is that people are talking about Jon Stewart like he's lost his mind. Like the news articles, the media, they're like, oh, Jon Stewart, he's gone. Who knows?
I'll be honest. I'm in the dark. I'm gonna watch the interview after this.
The interview, I think, is fine. I don't think he acted any like. I think he was just being honest. But the media headlines the next day, it was like, like every headline was written by the same guy, but he had to make it look different. It's like when you copy homework. Yeah. Someone else, you're like,
so this is another thing
that scares me.
This is another thing that I want to do is I really do want to start our website. And I want to start it soon because I want to be able to talk about these things, article form.
Yes.
Have a section just for it. And be able to talk about it maybe. But listen, this is something that we're not going to be able to solve here.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
It's not. It's a healthy conversation to have. It's always going to be he said, she said. But until the government of this nation that the lab is located in allows investigators to go in without direct supervision, like so them being able to change things or alter certain things. Like we need full access to that building, and we need to be able to conduct a full investigation into what happened. And maybe we're wrong, but the thing is, we should be able to know. We should be able to know.
Yeah,
we're trying to figure out where it originated. How it originated. So let us do that so that we can prevent it from the future.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. And I think people need to forget about the last president, just focus on if this was, even if it was accidental, there need to be repercussions. I mean, this killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And beyond that, businesses, families, homes were destroyed. And for one side to say that, no, you're being a conspiracy theorist, I think is also not fair.
Yeah.
But folks, we're going to end it on a good note. I want to thank all of you guys. It was a slow day, but I still had a lot of fun. We talked about Loki. We talked about Amber Heard. We talked about Jon Stewart. I want to thank Tyler and Austin for today. I want to thank you. And let's end this on the good note. Let's just look at this for a moment.
Oh, God.
Since we're never going to be able to cover this. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Austin's like, oh, a beautiful, sexy woman. Don't show me that. Don't show me that. Show me Lawrence Fishburne. Here we go. This is our last bit of news.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you got me going.
He's going to be joining John. What's the name of the gentleman who's joining John Wick 4? I have his name right here.
Oh, yeah. Ty gets this right every time. Ty, did you say this?
Hiroki Sanada.
Karaoke.
Speaking of him, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, he refused to be on our show. His agent sent us an email, like one line, not even a hi or goodbye. But listen, folks, I want to thank you guys so much for being here for us. Look, whether 5 of you are watching or 20 of you are watching, we are here for you. We try to give you the best content we can. I want to thank our channel members. If you are new, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And listen, become a member. We have a 3-tier system starting at $2.99 and going up. It's not that pricey. We are here. We do it for you. We do it for the culture. That's and right. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
With stuff.
With the Pop Culture Nightly Show, right? Or are we doing Knights of the Round Table?
We'll be back tomorrow.
We'll be back tomorrow.
To be determined, but we'll be.
Get the notifications. Make sure you get the notifications. We're always constantly doing shows. In the month of July, we have a lot of big guests coming on, and we are raising money again for breast cancer awareness. So even if you hate us, that's a good cause. So, folks, I thank you. I want to thank Austin. I want to thank TY. And I think that's all else to say. We do it for you. We do it
for the culture, baby.
Culture.